eventually. Dude, all right, guys, I hope you're excited as I am. Oh, is that race car stuff we hear in the background?
It is race car noises. We actually
Dude.
just put together a car that blew up like a week ago, and they're just not getting fired up.
That is badass. All right, so let's tell everybody who you are and where you're at. So, guys, this is Zach Whitaker. He is the let's say all around dude, but really the reason we're talking is social media, YouTube. You also turn some wrenches in the shop at Mid America Kustoms, or Mac TV as they're known on YouTube. So if anybody's looking, I'm going to actually type it out here. So it's Mid America is one word, right?
It's 2 words.
Okay, sorry. Mid America Kustoms with
Customs
a K.
with a K, which is unique, but everybody mixes it up.
Yep, and you guys are in Indiana, and obviously the way we came across you guys was 1 through Eric Englert of Family Man Racing, which is awesome, and then 2 Mountain Dew and Gap Train. Like those 2 rigs, I'm sure have probably put you guys on the map, so that's exciting.
They're slightly recognizable with the way they look.
Yes, that's exactly right. Guys, want to say hello to everybody that's in the chat. I want you guys to ask questions. He's got a ton of knowledge about all this stuff. I know there's going to be some YouTubers that are in here, and so obviously we're going to pick your brain on some of that as well. So let's first, though, we got to thank the dudes that make this happen. Okay, Andy's Computer Repair. Y'all have heard me talk about it since we've been put up in the podcast area here in the shop. It would not be possible without that dude. And last week when we had Bill Armstrong of Bankshift Billy and the 1,300 horsepower Fairlane, I actually thought I was going to have to call Andy while we were live on the screen here, but we ended up working it out. And then obviously Hawassi Tire and Lube, those dudes always take care of our tires. Y'all know we really enjoy burnouts and ice cream, and so they allow us to do burnouts. They always have some kind of jank ass tire that we can use on the cart or the old truck, which if you guys are watching, the old truck video is going to be up probably Friday afternoon. I would say we're getting ready for the shootout. Throw the drive shaft back in it tomorrow morning or tomorrow night after work, and then go make a couple rips, make sure it's good, and then we're going to throw some drag radials on it and see if we can run an 11. I've did an LS swap. It ran a 16-second pass with the 283. It ran a 14-second pass with a stock 4.8, stock 4L80, and then it ran a 14-second pass with a stock or with a boosted 4.8 and a big converted 480 and all that 4L80.
Just chipping away at the numbers.
Yeah. So we're going to turn it up, and we're going to turn the speed limiter off this time. So it ran 98 miles an hour with the non-turbo, and it ran 98 miles an hour with the turbo. So we're going to see if we can get better.
We need just a little bit more than that to run that number.
Yeah, dude. And, whenever you leave the speed limiter turned on those things and you just hit that wall, it's like, oh, my God, what are we doing here? So I'm excited to have you on. We had the Mid America guys on earlier. We had Adam and Nick on it's probably been 2 months ago now.
It's probably right.
Yep. So they were on kind of talking about, we really talked about race week and drag week stuff then. Uh-oh.
People checking in here.
Yeah, man. So we talked race week and drag week stuff then. I wanted to get your perspective, obviously, on this because you're the video photographer, dude, while they do the racing on all of the drag and drive events, or most of them. You didn't make 2.0, or I would have hounded you all week.
I know. I had some other stuff going on. I was in town for a buddy's wedding and then did a few things that I really wanted to go, but, stuff happened. Well, I wasn't planning on going. I had some other stuff on the schedule. And then, in the drag week, he's like, hey, I think we're going to go. I'm like, go have fun, man. Whip out your iPhone. I sent a couple of GoPros, but I know they had a good time. Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was fun to see those guys. We actually rode next to them. I don't know, 100 miles or something on day 3, I think. So that's pretty cool. Dude, let's jump into it because here's what I find. Car people typically have social media, and that's what we use for obviously staying in touch with other car guys. So is 11-year-old Zach, is he a car guy?
I kind of thought about that, and you're kind of throwing me some questions on what are we going to talk about? And I think I mean, you always like cars. I mean, I was great. You like cars, had toy cars, but really were not involved in working on cars until probably, I think I was 12 or 13, and we had a 54 Ford F-250 that was in the barn.
Yeah.
Probably had an inch worth of dust on it. I mean, it was one of those trucks you saw growing up, like you're running around playing in the barn.
Yep.
And we just pulled that out because they were having a car show at our local church. And we pulled it out, and I was so excited. You know, it's like, let's get this thing out, just to get it fired up. And looking back now, thinking like how cool it was just to have a truck that sat for how many years, and just to get it running. And we were going to take it to a car show, and I was asking my dad, like, hey, are you going to get the truck cleaned up for the show? And he looked at me and was like, my truck, it's your truck. You know, I'm 13 thinking like, are you serious? This is cool. Like let's, go fix it up for the car show. So I think that's when it started. And that truck is, I mean, it's really a hunk of junk the way, anybody else would look at it. But as a 13-year-old kid, I think this is the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, dude.
And we took it to the local church. I mean, it hadn't been driven in I don't know how many years. We took it there. I had the biggest smile on my face. And I ended up getting the People's Choice Award. There was like 3 People's Choice Awards. And I mean, this trophy was half as tall as I was probably.
Right.
With these other 2 guys. And like I said, just thinking about, I think that's when it really started on like just wrenching a little bit, even if it was just adjusting the carburetor, putting on a fuel filter, like something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's when it started.
That's pretty cool. And a 54 model, you said?
It's a 54 F-250. It was actually bought brand new in 53 by my great grandpa. So, it's one thing to be a truck that's sitting there, but for it to have that history. And I mean, my dad really isn't a car guy. He doesn't really work on a lot of stuff, but we spent a lot of time just doing stuff in the garage. And it was cool, like I said, being 13, just to get something like that and say, hey, hand it down and be able to just work on it a little bit. And now hopefully restore it at some point. I mean, it's just sitting in the barn now, needing work, but with all the other projects, we'll get to it one of these days.
Yeah, dude, that's super cool. We are family heirloom centric around here. The old truck, the Turbo C10 truck I have was our dad's stepdad, and then our mom's dad's 78 Toyota truck is in the shop right now. We're going to paint it, and it's the only truck we'll ever leave stock. We're not lowering it. We're not doing an LS in it or anything. We are leaving it completely
I'm
stock.
considering what to do with that truck. Right now, the last time I had it out, I could blip the throttle, and as I blipped the throttle, you could see oil coming out the bottom. It was like, so it's like every gasket needs gone through, and in my opinion, like, I'm either going to fix it up the way it is or do something cool to it. I don't want to spend a lot of money to make 150 horsepower when you could, make a lot more with something else. But
and being around those guys is probably dangerous for the power level too.
It's very dangerous. I don't think a lot of people realize that, just because we're so mainstream of like how much power something makes and how much we know, but these guys push the limits. I'm sure we'll start to talk about that, but it's
for sure,
a whole different ball game.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, one thing I do want to talk about, I want to ask, since we have some folks in here, I want to ask you guys, please hit the like button. If you're whatever way you're finding this, hit the like button, and then just real quick throw a share out, dude. I wish you were in the shop. We wouldn't be able to hear you, but we could definitely watch.
I know. I've got the door closed and everything. You probably still hear race car noises.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. It's coming through perfect.
Cool. Perfect.
So everybody throw the like button and hit the share real quick. While we're early on this, we've got a ton of cool stuff coming up. Definitely want as many people to see it as we can. All right, dude, you ready? So I think that kind of answers our family member question. Was there a family member that got you into that? We always blame our mom for buying us Hot Wheels and our grandmother for taking us to any car show we ever wanted to go to. So,
you got it.
Yep, being around that stuff. And what's funny, as a small kid, or as a child, 12, 13 years old, that stuff plays a big thing on you as, budding car guy, because you see the power plants, you see, like, especially that model Ford, that year range of Ford trucks. I don't know how old you are, but that would have been, a pretty big body style for when I was a kid, as far as like being at car shows and the guys that were building those, and they all looked cool. They all had cool paint and cool motors and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think you look at it, and like I said, at that age, even now, I think it's a cool truck. And anybody else that looks at it, I mean, it's got dented fenders, it's rusty, it doesn't run right, like all that in mind, I still thought it was the coolest truck ever. I mean,
Yeah, man.
When I got my permit, I was so happy because it was 2 or 3 years that I would have rode along to go to this car show, close by in town, and I was able to drive it that year. And
That's cool.
It was a 4-speed stick. I mean,
yeah,
it was just a really cool experience to do that, and it's not a big deal to some other people, but that in itself was really cool.
Yeah. Well, and the biggest thing is, like, I remember, I learned to drive on my old truck. So, driving it around the field that's out front of the house, just the loops and loops and loops you made so you could understand the clutch and all that kind of stuff. Kevin says your mom's watching too. So
that's my dad. Yeah. So
yeah,
watch give a shout out to my mom and my dad.
Yeah. Watch your language.
Yeah.
All right. So that kind of answers the next question of what'd you learn to drive in? Obviously the truck, I would think.
Yeah, that would have been early on, just, on the farm. I mean, my grandparents live on, it's like 4 or 5 acres, got a barn, just cruising around. I mean, either in that truck or the tractors. I mean, there was always something. I do remember when I first did get my permit, my dad had it would have been like an Isuzu cab or utility truck. And it came out, I don't know, a couple of months ago, we talked about that was the first thing I drove legally on the road.
Wow.
And he's like, I really let you drive that. I mean, it wasn't a handful, but it's, a big cab or utility truck. I just cruised into the shop. Like, this is cool.
That's awesome.
But that, and then I had a Trailblazer when I got my license. I mean, it's a bunch of different stuff early on. Driving a stick in my grandpa's truck. I mean, it's all good memories, learning that stuff and being able to do that on a place that's outdoor and a farm. I look at a lot of people now that didn't get a chance to do that, and it was really cool to be able to do that.
Yep. So we have a friend, and her daughter just turned 16, and so we were kind of going through some of that, letting her drive with us, me riding with her, all that kind of stuff. And it's funny. I was thinking about the same way. Like, my grandmother lived out in the country, and so the old truck I drove around probably a 2-acre plot that was flat up top. And then once I got comfortable enough with that, stopping and going, then we'd run it around probably a 3-mile loop that was just right there that never had any traffic. If something had happened, we could have pulled over to the side. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of kids that don't get to do that anymore because their parents don't have time.
Yeah. So either that, or so many people live in neighborhoods that, like, it's kind of a bummer when you hear people, their grandparents live in a close neighborhood, and then like, that's a bummer because we had all the chance to ride 4-wheelers and be outside and do that kind of stuff.
That's awesome, dude. You got to tell us the Zarek story here, right here.
All right. So this was early on, and I probably have 4 or 5 names here. At the very beginning, I was here, and Adam's wife is on the phone with him and asking about Subway orders, and she's like, "Hey, what does Eric want?" And he's like, "Who are you talking about? Who's Eric?" And she's like, "Eric. Oh, I mean Zach, whatever his name is."
Nice.
He kind of looks like an Eric. So then I have the nickname Eric, and then Zach and Eric is combined to make Zarek.
Yep.
And Bradley's son calls me Rick. He just got rid of the rest of it and just calls me Rick. So
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. Chasing there's Zach, Zarek, Eric, and Rick. Yeah, they're all there.
That's too funny. So as we go through this, I'm going to try and highlight the comments because, we've got folks on Facebook and on YouTube. So that way everybody can know kind of what we're talking about. All right. So the shop is in Fort Wayne, Indiana, right? Have you always lived there?
No, I still pay rent in Whiteland, Indiana, which is south of Indy. I'd say I've made the transition, but not completely. And I'm sure you'll ask, or we'll get into how I met the guys or how that.
Yeah.
I grew up just outside Indianapolis, and then when I met Nick, I ended up here. I mean, it seemed like it was part-time, and then all of a sudden it was pretty much all the time.
Then you never left?
Pretty much. And it's good though. I mean, we get a lot done, and I'm glad to be here to be a part of everything that goes on, because it's always something exciting that's happening.
That's awesome. So you did grow up south of Indy.
Yep.
My brother lived in Greencastle, which I think is east of Indy, right?
Yep.
East for about 2 years. And so that was the year we went to PRI. And that was when it was over after that. I was like, I love this place. So he
Yes.
lives here now, luckily. And so it's exciting for him to be so close.
Well, it's cool. And all the car guys that are connected in this area. It's funny when you start adding people on Facebook, and all of a sudden, half of Indiana. I mean, it's really cool.
That's awesome. And I would think being, in the region of Indianapolis helps a bunch too. There's people have racing on their mind because that track is so big and so involved. So that's cool. All right. So we talked about where you moved from. Oh, previous jobs. You got to tell us kind of a little bit and this is not just jobs, but like, let's tell how you got to where you're at now and kind of.
We can just go through. I'll start out, a few years ago, I think started, and then just get to meeting the Matt guys. If you want to just jump straight into that,
dude, let's do it.
Most previous, I was an electrician. We have a company, or did have a company, Whitaker Electric. Ever since I can remember, I was doing electrical stuff, and young enough that I could just run through the crawl spaces. My dad, was down there crawling around. I could just, run around pretty easy, be in the attics and stuff like that. And then the video stuff, the mechanic side of it, remodeling. I kind of did everything. But that's just how I was, wanting to get my hands on about everything. I took a lot of stuff apart that when I was a kid, probably never got put back together. But leading up into high school, we had a video class there. So that was kind of the tip in of like video stuff and leading to a few other jobs because I was doing a few things on the side, finishing up high school, going to college.
Yeah.
Went to school. I think the first semester I was doing electrical engineering and calculus was no good for me. So that kind of pushed me to wanting to do the video stuff. And I'm glad it did because that's what I enjoyed. I was, actually I went to Anderson University in Indiana and I pretty much walked straight to one of the guys' office in the athletic building. And I think he was the PR director kind of guy. And I said, hey, I want to work for you making videos for the sports teams.
Mm-hmm.
And after, like I said, a couple years in a video class in high school and then doing stuff with a buddy of mine, I enjoyed doing that. So at first the guy's like, no, I'm not, like, sorry, we don't have a job for you, whatever. So I went and met the head basketball coach. My floor was a lot of the basketball guys. So I just went and made a video for the basketball team. I got the coach's permission to do whatever I wanted. Yeah. Like I even went to a couple of away games with him on the bus for the weekend. Like I literally I was like, I'm going to go make a video. And he's like, right on. So I make that video and then I get an email from somebody to give me a job. And I'm like, oh, so you just wanted my resume. Like you do have a position, and I get where they're coming from. If they've never seen something before, you got to kind of sell yourself for that. So that's where a lot of the video stuff started happening and it turned into work. I think a lot of the other, was just fun. And when that turns into a job, it's cool. Like I said, I did the electrical stuff for a while, started dipping into the video stuff. We actually got an email to create a sports show at Anderson, started a brand new show that today is still going on as a class. And
that's cool.
They got last year or this year, they got a couple nominations for like a broadcast thing. And it's really cool to see that. And the one girl who actually kind of brought me on as she was the host and the writer for the show, which I didn't want to do. I was the editor, video guy. Like you create it. That's awesome. And she's actually working for Fox News now. So each of those little jobs that built up, and then you see the posts about people having success with that. It's really cool. Just to think a little job going into somebody's office would do something like that. I played golf at Anderson. It's just cool to see like other people getting good success out of it. It's like one email to a person to get you your foot in the door. I played golf there, ended up transferring to IUPUI, did the same thing. I found some guys office in the athletic building, and I walked in. He was actually playing ping pong with a student or something, and I'm like, this doesn't seem like a real professional, whatever type of environment. And I said, hey, I'm gonna work for you. And he's just people. I don't think people do that kind of stuff. Like just walk in and say that. So he's like, sure, send me some of your work. So I sent him an email with a folder, and like right away sent me an email back and said, you got a job to do this. So then it goes to, I'm the video guy for, D1 sports. Now they're not huge, but right there, being able to go to all the games, make videos. I was making hype videos for the teams once again, it was turning into more work. And that, till the end of college, that was pretty much my job and work.
That's cool, man.
It's just crazy how one thing leads to another, and then you meet some good connections that make a big difference.
Well, and then, a lot of that stuff too, you're gaining skills and knowledge. You're learning how to work with people, learning what people want, what people don't want, things like that. That's cool.
Well, and I hate to say that, me personally, I'm not really a college person. Like if I'm telling somebody what they should do or what kind of backgrounds needed for something, I'm totally on the side of like, get experience. Like if you think college is go to do these classes to get grades and move on, you're not going to get what you need out of it. So for me, I will say college was worth it just for those opportunities. If I didn't work for those people to make some money and get that experience, it wasn't all that I wanted. So that was cool to get that out of it. It did complicate things. I graduated the spring of 2020. So when everything going on in the world, when classes got canceled, school got canceled, I had created it so my job was sports video, my internship was sports video, and multiple class projects were sports video. And when that was all canceled, I'm kind of approaching my professors like, I don't know what to do. So my spring semester of senior year ended up being pretty easy because everything I had got canceled. it was the way I had it set up. I was able to make some money while doing a class project. So it was cool, but it was weird, and I was commuting. So I was cool with how it panned out. But it was unique graduating in a scenario like that and all just being canceled.
Yeah, and especially in what you were doing, you know what I mean? Like video with as sports videos, and there's no sports, that creates a little bit of an issue.
It does, and I had already recorded some stuff. I could finish up a couple of projects, but I had pretty good professors that were respectful of. I was making money doing this. I was commuting. I had a lot of other things going on, and they were respectful of, you do your project how you're gonna perform and learn best. And I was really happy I had a few professors like that, because I know a lot of them could have said, no, I want you to focus on this. And it was cool. I was able to do that and get some of those experiences.
Right. So you're in school, you graduate. So if you graduate spring of 2020, if I'm following right, and I see when the videos on the channel start showing better quality stuff. I'm not going to say they didn't do a good job beforehand, but you can tell when somebody moves in. So work us from graduating, and then kind of when you start with them and what it starts as, and then obviously where you're at now.
Really the beginning would have been, I have to think about this. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I had a friend that he was building a race car. He was building a Fox body, and I knew nothing then. So this is before the college stuff ended up, but he was showing me his car, and I didn't know anything that was on it. And I'm looking at this thinking, cool. I like engines. I like cars, but I didn't know what the stuff was. And he invited me to go to a backwards no prep race, and we went, and it was awesome. Like I walked through the pits, and I could not stop smiling. Like to walk through, to smell the race gas, to see the cars. It was so cool to me that I hadn't done that. I've been to car shows, but never been to a race. So we went and did that, and then we went to Big and Banger with Nick before I knew any of them. I don't even think I talked to him. We just showed up, and he was big into photography. So we kind of had like interests, like, we're buddies and we work on cars, but we went and took pictures. So looking back, I was looking at that folder a couple of days ago, and I had people on there. I had no idea what, Billy the Kid. I had a cool picture of his truck before I knew any of those guys. And that's really where it started, that I at least knew about them. And, the way they are on Facebook, I just added them on Facebook and started following stuff. And immediately you start scrolling through pictures like, dang, they build some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
In particular, Sherm's C10, the C10 with the twin turbos in the bed. That, seeing a couple of those pictures really just got me thinking they need more to show for this. Like there's so much to show the world, that pictures are awesome. People appreciate it. Like, cool, they see what you're doing, but there's a lot more that can be put out there.
Yeah.
And after graduating, all the COVID stuff, we were slow at work. So we were doing electrical work, but stuff slowed down when stuff started getting shut down. I think we were, in a way, struggling to find work here and there. And I was looking for something else to do. So I started making some videos. I was actually remodeling a couple houses, helping somebody out. And it was nice to not have as much to do. Now, I was still doing the video stuff to pay some bills, doing some remodeling. I went fishing a bunch last summer. I was fishing and camping a bunch. And I was actually camping at Lake Monroe the weekend of War in the Woods. And that would have been last September.
Cool.
And just the week before, I messaged Nick and said, hey, I'd like to come to War in the Woods and make a video. And he has no idea who I am. Yeah. I've met him one other time, and I just pretty much said, hey, what's up, at LS Fest. So I messaged him that week. I showed up, and I was just telling Nick this yesterday. I was like, I don't even know if you remember when we first met or talked about this, but I showed up there and was just kind of eyeballing where he was at, trying to find him just to introduce myself at the War in the Woods race. And it was funny. He kind of walked up the hill, and he's always talking to people. I mean, if you know Nick,
oh yeah, dude, he's not
talk to him, and he's willing to give somebody 5 minutes. Like that's awesome about him, and being able to be a racer, be a promoter, and still, being able to talk to everybody. So I finally caught him coming down the hill from the parking lot, and he wasn't talking to somebody. So, I mean, I had my camera there, and I walked up and said, hey, how's it going? My name's this on Instagram. I messaged you. And he's like, oh, yeah, right on. Nice to meet you. And I said, nah, I'm gonna make a video tonight and take some pictures. And he's kind of like the same guy when I went to college. Just kind of like, right on, you do you. I appreciate it, man. And I'm like, hey, what kind of stuff do you want me to get? And he's like, oh, whatever, wherever you can go and get, cool with me. And Jeff Thomas put on that race, and he said, hey, film whatever you want, do whatever you did. So I filmed that video that night, and it was a cool experience. I mean, just being able to stand right along the race. I mean, it would have been like my third experience maybe at the drag strip.
Oh, that's cool, man. And
just to be right there and to film some stuff. Since I hadn't done the racing before, I didn't know what to film, where to stand. I just tried to get everything. I mean, whether it was up close, I ended up on the hill for a couple, races. And it was just, I mean, I think I got home at 3 or 4 in the morning. I mean, it was a cool night. Being able to talk to Nick for a little while, talk to Colt Coffee with the Black Camaro. And my intention to go that day was to make a video, post it, and have Nick call me and give me a job. I mean, whether it was a full-time thing or like, hey, be a freelance guy and make some videos. I didn't know what it would be, but I knew I had to do some form of resume, and that's how I was with doing other jobs in college. Was like, I don't blame you for not, giving me a job. Like, I don't have anything to show for it. So the way I've gone over things the last couple of years was, if I want this guy to hire me, I got to have something to show for it. So I made that video just so it wasn't like, okay, you're going to come help us. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So Gosh, I think the picture just popped off my phone from a year ago, and as a few days went by, and Nick posts an Instagram video of Colt's car doing the wheelie, and Nick's standing right behind the car as it's taken off, and it's just this iPhone video from behind. But I mean, not super great quality, and it takes off, and and he's posted on Instagram and Facebook, big wheelie by Colt, Mullet Mara doing its thing, and I sent him a message responding to that video and said, hey, I think I have a picture of that. And I didn't even, gosh, I probably ended up editing 10 pictures from the night. Like, my intention was not to take pictures. I mean, I was there to make a video, and I sent him that picture, and I looked at it thinking, all right, this is a cool picture. And I send it to him and then realize it's an awesome picture. Like just realizing I look back at it now, seeing everything that's going on in the picture. I mean, it's a big wheelie, candles lit out of the exhaust, all the people across the back. And I send that picture, and he immediately responds with like, dude, that's so freaking good. Like, can I buy it? Like, he's like, can I buy this picture? And I'm like, well, thanks, man. I knew it was an okay picture, but I really appreciate that. And he sends it to Colt, and Colt's like, dude, that's so cool. Like, thank you so much. Like,
that's awesome.
And then I look back at it again and think, you're looking at everything in the picture. And to a lot of people, let's say in my family or people I know, that picture is almost meaningless. But you send it to guys like that and realize the people, the wheelie, the headlights, so you know what car it is, the nitrous, the flames coming out. And that now I realize in that picture pretty much was what got me the job. And I got that video done a couple of days later, posted it, sent it to Nick. And once again, he's like, dude, that's awesome. That's really cool. And I called him to discuss him buying the pictures, because I never sold photos. And I'm like, hey, I don't know, man. Like,
what's it worth?
I don't know what's it worth, And gosh, I think I ended up selling him 5 pictures from the night for $50 or something. And
that's cool, man.
It's a funny story. I was driving to actually rescue my dad, who was stuck in the air in our bucket truck. Bucket truck's all in, and he's stuck in there. And I'm on the phone with Nick, and I'm like, talking to him about him paying for pictures and stuff. And I'm like, all right, I'm pulling up to my dad now. I got to go help him get out of the bucket truck. And before I hung up, I said, hey, I want you to think about this. I don't know when this happens, down the road, put it in your back of your mind. I don't even know. But I'll come work for you as a mechanic and as a video guy. And he just paused for a few seconds. And then he says, that's not a bad idea. I'll think about that. So then I'm like, sounds good, man. I appreciate it. Hung up. And then a few days later, he's like, hey, can I call you? He called me and said, hey, what's it going to take to make this happen? And
that's cool, man.
That would have been pretty much a year ago, just a few days ago. So
that's awesome. Well,
that's how I met them. And that's where it started pretty much.
I mean, that's so cool. And like to go out, one in college to do it, and then to go out and want that and get it. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. And
and it's like when people say, hey, that's an awesome opportunity, or that's an awesome thing that happened. And I just think, like, you're just like you said, I had to go get it. And I was willing to do a video for free for him to call me, and I just enjoyed doing it, and knew there was no way I could just say, hey, can I get a job without some form of resume or something. And
so here's what for the podcast guests, like, we're always trying to level up. We're always trying to get that next level guy that can help us grow and how we can help tell their story. You know what I mean? And so what I've found is that, like, you can't just message someone and go, hey, would you like to be on my podcast? They have no idea who you are, or one, you know it as well as anybody. You guys are busy all the time. Everybody's busy all the time. So what happens is, if I'm just sending out emails or DMs on Instagram is where I send a lot of stuff. I actually had this conversation with, I think, in the Facebook message group with you guys, because I want Lyle Barnett to come on. I think he would have cool stories. He's a great dude, and tells really funny stories in a great way. I'd like to have him on. And so, like, I've got to provide, so when I send somebody in a message, I typically say, hey, I'd like you to be on the podcast. Here's kind of the topics we're going to cover. Here's a previous podcast, so it's the same thing, but yours is way cooler because you get to video race cars, man, all the time. I just get to sit here and talk to race car people.
It's a lot of fun. And I think, well, now's the time to do it. Being single, I don't have a house. Like there's not a lot that ties us down in terms of like, hey, let's go do it. And especially with us, we were slow at work, and I was trying to find something else to kind of do. And it was a good opportunity. And that night, I remember Nick telling me, hey, we won a TV show. You can't tell anybody, but we won this TV show. And that right there was a tipping point of like, hey, when you bring this truck home, people are going to be looking for stuff. I mean, they see you on the show. What are they going to find? And it would not have been a lot in terms of YouTube because they hadn't done much. So that there was just finding a reason for him to hire me, a reason for something to promote. And the Gap Train was that something. So that gave me a way to sell as, being important and this is going to do well.
Well, and my little brother, Steven, who now has his own shop, was working at NWA Streetworks, and I was helping them with their social media some and things like that. And the struggle for those guys is you don't have the time to record. You don't have the time to set the camera up to get the good shot of you putting a turbo on a car. You've almost got to have somebody like you that can get those shots. But then you also need somebody that understands it. You can't just hire any social media company to do that, because we had discussed that too. And a lot of those guys, you hire a social media company, they want you to send the photos, they want you to tell what's going on in the photo, and they'll post it for you. Well, hell, I'll just post it myself if I got to send you all that stuff. So having somebody in-house is a big plus.
I think, and then that definitely makes a difference, because I know talking to Nick at the beginning, he's like, I know we need to hire you. I know we need this because I can't do it. Like, I know we need to make videos. I know that, but there's not enough time in the day to get that done and to do it, to a good way, because a lot of people can do it, and that's maybe it's not the best of quality, but some people are able to get it done. He recognized I'm not going to be able to do it justice, so he hadn't done a lot of it. And I think that helps with our success. If you look at what we've done in a short amount of time, I was a video guy first. Now, I already liked cars, but I wasn't necessarily just a car guy that picked up a camera. So I had some of that experience of like, we can kind of skip a little bit of that phase of maybe not the best YouTube videos. Now, not everything we do is great, but little things like, trying to make good audio or something like that made a difference. The other big thing I'll touch on in terms of going to work with them, I wanted to do the YouTube thing, and I have done it. I have my own YouTube channel. It's Z Witty's Garage, and I have 200 subscribers. And I have maybe 6 videos on there. The limiting factor for me was time and resources. I mean, that's the way it is with everybody, and I'm sure we'll discuss that later and how that plays into it. But for me to be a successful YouTuber myself, I have to have the car. I have to have the truck. I have to be able to go racing. I have to be able to build and somehow be, favorable on YouTube. So when you come across the opportunity of Nick, they do that. They have the cars. They have the fans. They have customer cars. If we run out of content with our own cars, you can use customer content. Or like Sean, you've seen Bumper Wilson. If he does well at a race, we're able to use that. So for me thinking, now one day I may have more subscribers. I don't know. I devote my time to the Mac TV channel, but I would have to have all those resources, and I'm blessed that Nick has been able to do that because he gave me that opportunity of like, you guys do cool stuff. we're never not going to do something. If you
Yeah.
think we're going to run out of videos, you're wrong, because there's
Yeah.
a lot of cars here, a lot of racing to be had.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference, because, like I said, I don't know how I would have done it or even gotten close to
Well,
on
so
my own.
that is a great point, because what happened, and we started recording and basically documenting what we were doing in the shop. We weren't necessarily, we were Gary V fans, and still are, about, document, don't create, don't create drama like everybody does on TV, document what you're building. Well, our struggle turned into, we were not doing it full time, which Steven is now. And so it would take us 6 or 8 months to build a car, because we're only doing it 3 or 4 hours a week. Well, as a 200 subscriber channel, you may have 8 people that are going to watch every video you put out, right? But you're going to have 50 people that may see that video over the next 3 months. Well, like, the hard part for that is, like, how do you keep your momentum up?
Yep.
And how do you keep your motivation up to do that? Well, the cool thing about the setup you have now is, like, you guys are always racing. You're always, sadly, you're always tearing something up.
Yep.
You're always fixing something. People love drama. People like to see what actually goes into fixing a car, what actually goes into, I go race every weekend and we break stuff and we come back to the shop and we fix it, and so that's probably one of the biggest benefits I see to what you're able to provide for them, is that it's real time. There's not a lot of times where you're editing a video from 6 months ago. It's within, your drag week stuff is coming out. You've got days of drag week, and then I'm sure you'll have some Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0 stuff that'll come out. So, like, we're a week and a half, or we're probably 2.5 weeks from drag week.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. So
it's cool. And so Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0, I think we posted a video every single day. It was one day behind the race. And
yep.
I think at the end of the week, it was a day or two behind, but that opportunity was cool. It was a lot of work. To get them out, and luckily Race Week set up to have drive days.
Yep.
It was a pretty drama-free days that we could do that. So I was sitting, editing, whether I got to shut the laptop up in the dash and film them going by. That was cool. And it would have been cool to do that for drag week, and we didn't have the drive days. We were, getting somewhere to sleep at early in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's tough, because I know some of those might have done better if it's right away. But then you quickly realize, I want them to look good, and
yep.
the quality is important to me. So if I can, make it a 30-minute video that people are going to enjoy and wait a couple weeks, and then you realize how many people don't even know what happened. Like, we realize the different demographics we have. We think, they're bummed out they didn't see this right away. And then we got all these comments of people saying, like, good luck, right on, can't wait to, like, you're not on Facebook, and it's interesting to see those different people in that regard.
Yep. And it's funny, I think I do a video a day on Race Week, just for the sheer fact of, I enjoy the punishment. Like, that's probably the goofiest way I'll explain it, but, like, our first video for day one, our day 0 video did well too, but day 1 video, we were I think probably the first to upload a video that morning. So we caught the YouTube algorithm as it was jumping, and that did like 6,000 views in a day. It was the craziest video we've ever had. And then everything else was a little better than normal,
It makes a difference for sure.
Yep.
And it's hard. And
dude, it was brutal. And I went back and watched a couple of those videos, because I'm editing, like, I'm going back and doing like a full day one, like a 25-minute video of really what happened that day. And I don't even remember editing those videos. The day 1 through 4.
Everything was blending together.
Yes.
Drag week for sure.
Yep. And because, like, you are, with you running with those guys, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more too, because I'm going to be co-pilot for the first time in February. So, we've raced and got the car prepped and recorded, and then gone to the hotel at 11 and edited and uploaded and gone to sleep, So it'll be interesting to only worry about recording. I won't be worrying about getting to the lanes and being in the car for 30 minutes. I'll be able to be in the lanes recording and talking to people and things like that. So I'm excited about that. For Tom Bailey's sick week, do you have plans to?
I think so. We'll
Yes.
see how the carts fall. If the carts get there, you know how we are.
Yeah.
Something's not apart or has to be changed, and we'll see. Who knows what will happen in a few months.
Right. So you said you pay rent south. I mean, do you sleep in the shop? What do you do? Like, how do you?
So there's actually a house here on the property.
Oh, cool.
So it's pretty much a farm that we lease. We have our main shop here that we work out of, the dyno building across the street, our dry storage barn, and then the house.
Nice.
So there's pretty much 4 of us that work here and sleep in the house. And I did sleep on the couch in the office, so pretty much right over here for months, and I was cool with that. Like, that's just what we were doing. And it's even now, it's nice to rent a house right next to it that we can work a lot, have a place right next to it. If we work till midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, we don't have to go far. We have that ability to get done if we need to. I stay up here a lot. I mean, I'll go home every once in a while to sleep there and hang out with my family a little bit.
Right. Anthony says all drag week style events are Mac weeks.
Pretty much. I mean, it's funny. Even the radio stuff that we did this year is so much different. We spent a lot of hours preparing for that one, and within 5 to 7 days, it was a whole new car, but it made it all worth it. I mean, you think about the week that we had, and that's, I think, just what we do. And I told somebody the other day, I said, man, it's funny, all the people calling us crazy, and yes, we are, but we're like, what else would we be doing?
Yeah.
And this is what we enjoy.
Yep.
I say we go home, but we walk a few steps. It's like we're always a part of it.
Man, it always blows my mind. Like, I can't understand how, I don't know what normal people do. Like, I mean, we talk, drink, sleep, everything cars. Cars is our life, and especially like for you guys. I mean, I can't imagine being single and around that kind of stuff all the time. It'd be dangerous.
It is. It is dangerous, but it's like I said, I think about what else we would be doing, and Nick's like, man, if we weren't doing this, we're probably sitting on the couch. I mean, I find myself in the evening, if it's 7 o'clock, I end up working out here for a few more hours. I can't bring myself to just go inside and not do something. And I'm appreciative we have the shop here that we can do that. And I mean, be able to get stuff done when we need to. And there's always something to work on. And it's really a blessing to have that. And I don't know how people don't have a project car. I'll just say that.
I don't either, man.
What are they doing?
I really don't know. Like, I don't know what normal people do with their time, Sure. So, all right. Well, before we get into some of the race week stuff and all that, why don't you tell everybody where they can find like all of your feeds? I'm going to put you main screen. I'm going to pull up I want everybody to see the kind of video that you do. And for the Mac TV channel and things like that. Sure. So I'm going to grab one of those. I'm going to put you full screen. I'm going to grab one of those and let you kind of talk.
So you want me to talk about like the videos we've done? And
no. Let's tell them where they can find you guys.
Oh, okay. So the YouTube channel is Mac TV, MAK space TV. That's our hat here. Social media wise, Facebook's Mid America Kustoms, Instagram Mid America Kustoms /Mac TV. Nick's been trying to post on TikTok a little bit. We are kind of lacking on that. It's kind of new, but that's pretty much where you can find us.
That's awesome. You guys are everywhere. I don't think I spend enough time on TikTok. TikTok has really become good for car guys.
There's a lot there for people, but it's just another thing to do. I mean, we're as it is, and if we can make a thing of it, we'll try. But Instagram and Facebook, I mean, keeps us busy and trying to keep up on YouTube. Yeah,
for sure. All right, let me grab this real quick because it's a super cool video. You do a great job doing this stuff. Let's add this on here. That give you guys that screen there. Can you see
Man,
it?
they're on back to the beginning.
Yeah. So
Every single team in here could lose their car and be out a ton of money in this competition.
As long as I can remember, all I've ever wanted to do was race, no matter what it was or where it was. That's just where my heart is at. Our truck, it represents so much more than just a vehicle. It symbolizes a team. When you want something bad enough, no matter how broke you are or how little time you have, there is no other option except to make it happen. That is us, and that is Matt. We could care less about the views or the recognition. When all the lights shut off and everyone goes home to their normal job and comfortable home, we'll still be here, living at our shop, racing every chance we get and risking everything. Not a hobby, not a job. This is our life. We grind day in and day out, 24/7, 360.
Just feels like forever ago.
right.
More alive now than it's ever been. We've competed in some of the toughest and most enduring races there is, from full-on NHRA.
How many times has that truck had leaves on it for real?
Everybody else's way, but now it's our.
Probably never before we did that. Man, this would have been one of the first times that I was filming up here.
Dude, that's so cool. The just to to have the vision to do that. I think there's a ton of guys that lack that kind of vision to make that kind of video and be able to see it all the way through and understand audio, the music side of it, and what to put stuff. So that's really cool, man.
I think it's tough, and it's funny. I don't find myself to be that creative of a person, and I've gotten better at it for sure. But I got so good at, I think, the technical side of stuff, and me and Nick work really well on stuff to where, whether it's designing a t-shirt or something in a video, he's really good at critiquing it. And I've told him before, like, man, just tell me everything. I don't care.
Yeah.
You can hurt my feelings. Like, we're going to make this.
Yep.
And all the time I'm kind of asking him, like, how do you want to do this? And within a few iterations of something, it's awesome. And he's got a vision for that. And I've got mine just how video stuff looks. I mean, I have an idea of how, we want stuff to look. And that's another tough one, because how long does it take to do a cool video like that versus vlogging or just the normal YouTube video?
Yeah.
And that's a tough one to balance. But I enjoy the opportunities every once in a while to do something like that. Once again, that being at the very beginning was like, I think that posted the night the finale aired for the Horsepower Wars. And like,
oh, that's cool.
We got to throw something out there, something to kind of get somebody's attention. And I mean, something kind of creative. And we had a lot of fun doing that one. And it was cold. I remember it was really cold those couple of days. And we're just like, 30 minutes, let's go film a few of these and see what we get out of it. And it turned out really good.
Well, and again, kind of back to the race week and drag week stuff. You start looking at the opportunities that gives. Because Horsepower Wars is coming out, like you can take, you're going to take that momentum, and then everybody's going to search for the Gap Train. So you might as well have something that drops and it's cool,
And it's recognizable. I mean, you show up to like Race Week 1.0, and I went over and talked with James Tall, Cletus McFarland's mechanic, and just mentioning, like, oh yeah, I'm with the S10 with the turbo on the roof, and I mean, it's like, oh, right on, that's cool, and it just kind of gets your foot in there, like somebody kind of knows what car you have, or it's something recognizable, and I ended up talking to him for like 30 minutes, but like, that's cool. Him knowing about what we do, he was really excited. He's like, hey, you're really going to like this. Let me show you something. He pulls out his phone, and he had a Hoosier Slick on the back of the Nova. And he's like, yeah, you'll like this. He shows me that. I'm like, that's cool. But him recognizing the Gap Train,
Yeah.
us, the type of racing we do, you just kind of realize like, hey, this has gotten out there and people appreciate it and have seen some of it, because why else is he going to show somebody who's got, a Hoosier slick on his car when it's a radio car?
Yep.
Little things like that. It's cool. And the whole week, I mean, even 1320, the first day of race week,
Yes.
we were the the amount of text that we get, hey, you're the first video on 1320. And we're like, what are you talking about? And then
Yep.
I remember Fred rolling up and is like, what is this? Showing the turbo on the roof and stuff. But
Yep.
I mean, it made its rounds and people, thought it was cool and recognized it. So
yeah,
I guess
did
our
anytime,
job in that regard.
Yeah. Anytime you build something that's a little wild or out there, you definitely want to see people enjoy it. We had 2.0 last year. We had 1320. We were the first interview from Kyle, and that skyrocketed our channel from there. And that helped a ton. I think we ended up like 400 subscribers in a day. It was the craziest day we've had. Yeah. So it was pretty wild that day for sure. Let's see what else. Oh, dude. Yeah. This is perfect into this. What's a typical day look like for you? Because you also turn wrenches. So like, how do you balance that? Like what's a day look like for you?
It's pretty hard to get everything done. Right now, I would just say a short list of what I try to get done is work on the race cars. I mean, that's mostly, our stuff, get those worked on when I need to, film videos when we're doing stuff, editing a lot. Right now, prototyping some parts for us to sell. So I've been doing a lot of 3D lately to build some of that, as well as try to post on social media, make short videos for social media. That right there is probably 5 or 6 things that I do all the time. And, let's say I work 40, 50 hours a week. How do you try to divide it up amongst those 6 things? And some weeks, some of them don't get done. Right now, trying to edit the drag week stuff. I mean, we start at 8 o'clock in the morning, get out here. Actually, where I'm sitting right now is where I edit. I get here, crank out a video. If I can, get editing done, usually somebody's yelling at me, hey, come work on this for a couple minutes. So then I got to drop my headphones and go work on a car for an hour or something. Yeah. And then right back to it to work on that stuff, as well as trying to get photos out. I now am kind of becoming a photographer, but I'm the video guy, and then try to take photos, and the photos help a ton. When I can, let's say it takes me a couple of days to edit a video, I can work through a handful of photos and have to post over the next couple of days or keep up on it, because videos are awesome, but the photos can make their way around, and it's easy for people. They don't have to go watch a whole video. When you post a picture, there it is, an instant. It makes a difference, and people share it. So I try, if I can just get a handful of photos out of an event, I'm pretty happy with that. Now some of the guys try to take thousands of photos, and I may export 25 or 20, but they're 20 of the best. And I'm like, these people are going to appreciate it, and we can promote it. Yeah.
Well, and one of the biggest benefits too is like being a video guy, if your video was slow enough, you could grab one of those as a screenshot out of that.
It's funny. People tell me to do that. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I didn't really think about doing that.
Well, so let me ask this, because that makes me think about your equipment, because for a long time we had a double, we had on a, little carry around handheld thing. We had our GoPro and our phone, would mount to both, so you could have both. It wasn't a gimbal, but that way it was easier to grab, vertical format for TikTok and Instagram reels and things like that.
That's something we need to do. Trying to do the TikTok thing. Everything needs to be filmed that way. And mostly 99% of what I have is the other way.
Yeah. Well, because like I need this shot with my phone so I can make it into a video. I can add that as another section of video,
Yeah.
So there's not enough ways one person can take angles of shots,
and it's tough. And I think that going back to how much time I spend editing, I think that plays a factor, because we could be that group that has 10-minute videos every day, And
Yeah.
a lot of those people are only filming with an iPhone, maybe a GoPro. And
Yep.
that's something we kind of go back and forth on, because there's times that Nick's like, it's not a big deal. Like it's cool. Like he didn't include that, or like, it's cool if that's not perfect. And I always want to make the audio awesome and use, cool angles. But if you're talking about my equipment, I've got two twin Canon T7i DSLRs. And I mean, they're pretty much side by side when I'm doing one taking pictures, one taking video.
Nice.
And then I think I have 5 or 6 GoPros.
Yeah.
So when I'm walking through the lanes, my pockets are full of GoPros trying to get up there. And then
Yep.
Either I've got a couple of mounts on the car, a couple of them have magnets, and one's got a handheld. So
Yeah.
I'm walking up there, slap one here, put one inside. That's pretty much my setup. And I'm walking around with 7 or 8 cameras pretty much everywhere I go.
That's awesome.
And it's tough. So the other day I told somebody, like, man, it must be nice. And we were watching the guy just taking pictures. And I'm like, that's all that guy has to do. Like,
Yeah.
he's taking pictures. You can do that all day, get good
Yep.
at it. And I look at that and think, oh yeah, that's cool. But then I think I enjoy what I do. If I'm not running around trying to get the video, get the photos,
Yeah.
it's not as fun. Like I love the chase of that, the game of that.
Yep. What you were talking about putting the cameras on cars. I have a funny story. So we were gonna race Doug Cook in the Nova at Tulsa, and at Oklahoma City. And so I pull up behind him. We were both in unlimited, and I pull up and I'm like, "Hey, which lane are you gonna take? Because I want to get the GoPros set up, to see you drive out of my life, right?"
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, "I'm gonna take the right lane." Well, we had the cameras on the left side, so we undo the bar mounts, put both cameras. We have one kind of up front facing forward and one out back facing forward, and I've got the one inside the car that shoots out the window. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be really cool. Yeah. So we get all of that set up, recording. My brother's getting it set up in the lane to get some burnout photos on his phone and the race. They pull us up and put him in the left lane. Now I have nobody there to get stuff out of the right lane.
Oh, that's tough.
I'm strapped in, arm restraints on. I have no way to get the camera off of the roll bar to put like to the side so I can get him. So we beat him because he got out of it. I have no footage to prove it.
That's funny. I've a couple instances where he's in a different lane and I'm scrambling, trying to run over, grab it, stick it on the other side. I mean, that's what we enjoy, though. Like I said, I love running around with all the GoPros trying to get whatever we can.
And again, I think that's why I'm so excited about Sick Week, is because I'll be able to, like, that's what I'm going to spend so much time in the lanes. I'm going to spend so much time talking to people. We're taking a car that hopefully won't need any work. We're not going to change tires over. It's relatively slow anyway, so we're not going to change tires, things like that. Family Man Racing here, Eric says Zach whips open his jacket and just pops out GoPros. Hey, little racer, need a GoPro?
That's pretty much it. I'd say, and it's funny, you're trying to delegate where the GoPros go. I've got kind of my list of hierarchy, like, Mountain Dew's first. Nick pays me. That's the car that is going to get the GoPros. If I got a few more I can throw somewhere, like what car is unique? What car is going to, gap somebody? Is Adam going to blow up the gap train again? It all factors into, where do I put the 5 GoPros? And then when they get back, do I have enough time to go get those and throw them in the next car in the lane?
Yeah.
And it's cool. We get a variety of angles for sure.
So that makes me wonder, what do you use to get around the track on? Like, do you bicycle, you scooter?
I run.
Oh, dude, that's why you're so skinny.
So yeah,
I got to get into some of that running stuff you talk about.
I had a pit bike. It was a small dirt bike. I drove at a couple of the events that were pretty long hauls. But yeah, trying to run. Hopefully we're parked in a decent spot.
Yep.
The funniest one, I think, is Mississippi, which would have been the first trip that I took, because I filmed in November when the Gap train was home, and we tested at Mentone in November, which that video for some reason has 70,000 views. It was the very first one we filmed. No better than anything else, but it just got sucked into the algorithms and did well. That video was to prepare for Civil War. And then whatever it was, a month or two later, we go down there, and the guy tells us he gives us a good spot, and it wasn't a good spot. We were at the starting line of the track, which the starting line for us is the finish line. So we're dead on a quarter mile away.
Oh, dang.
And, to get down there, I might hop on with Nick right up there or get on a golf cart. But a couple of the races that were close and he won, I wanted a genuine reaction. I mean, yeah, sure, we get down there, we can talk about it, but him jumping out of a car,
being pumped,
is So there was 2 or 3 times, like the first trip we took, and I'm carrying this, and I throw one camera on my shoulder and just take off sprinting, and I'm getting down there right when he's pulling into the spot of the trailer, and I'm just thinking like, awesome, he's gonna jump out, and super excited, and then just so glad I was there, and I can't hardly breathe, I'm like I wanted it. There's sometimes I'm like, whatever, we can just catch up when I get down there.
Yeah.
And that was before I had all the GoPros. Now with the GoPros, I can generally get his reaction. Either he's jumping out of the car or yelling at the camera and the seat. But no, it's nice. I enjoy it. If I don't know what else I'd be doing, so to run around and do that, I mean, it's
right.
cool to do.
Well, and I think so. I told Justin, who's going to pilot the car, that I was like, man, what we're going to do, because I'm flying down. I was like, what we'll do is I'll go to a Goodwill in whatever town we're in, and I'll buy a bicycle. Whatever bicycle is in there, I'm going to buy it. I was like, and then when we go to leave town, we'll donate it back, and then we'll do the same at the next, and at each track.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I figured I'd end up with some kind of goofy bike, because I took the electric scooter for 2.0 this year, and it was great until it ran out of battery and I didn't have the charger.
You'd have a hard time charging it when you're always on there. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, well, and I'd completely forgotten the charger, which is not good. So I had thought, okay, I'll just have, I'll buy a new one on Amazon. And I'm like, no, I've got one at home.
Yeah,
but the problem was we were at Mid America Dragway in Kansas, and it had one bar left, and I'm riding it up to the front, and then the battery died. So I had to kick this electric scooter all the way back.
That's rough.
Yeah. So Danny's saying, see if they have a bike collective. That's not any fun. I think I'll probably buy one. Maybe we'll donate it to a children's shelter or something there close. Just tell them, hey, come pick this up somewhere.
That's funny.
All right. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So we talked about GoPros and batteries. We talked about GoPros. We didn't talk about batteries, SD cards.
Luckily, in terms of batteries, it's nice that we usually have the generators going at the track. That helps because I can either use Sean's trailer, Adam's trailer, and plug stuff in.
Yep.
And try to keep a few batteries on charge. Typically, I got one in my back pocket, one in each of the DSLRs, which are the same camera. So if photos aren't as important, and that one usually lasts a while. So if I got to switch one, I can.
Yep.
My GoPro of choice is the sessions, the small ones where you just push once to go, no screen. They can last me all day. And,
that's awesome.
People, this GoPro 10's awesome. It's going to go for an hour. Like this way,
maybe.
Makes a pass, click it off. I can use it all day long. And I have a 7 or an 8, and it don't last that long. So I think I have 4, of those, 3 or 4, and they're awesome because
the session, I had not thought about that. That's a good way to do it, because the struggle you have is getting all of the angles, but not burning through battery like crazy, because if you just leave it on, you're going to lose your battery.
Yeah.
And then, like if Steven is at the line recording, and let's say Steven's making a pass and I leave the camera on him and he pulls in the pits, he's excited, somebody's talking to him, the camera just runs, forever.
It's tough. It's a tough game to play because I try to get people on board with it, like, hey, do you mind grabbing this for me? Do you mind turning this off? Because sometimes if we have 5 cars racing, by the time I get there, all 5 cars, those guys are already in the pits and those GoPros are sitting, and I'm just thinking about like how many minutes are
you're just burning through SD cards.
And it's tough, and I don't have any. Well, my GoPros could do 4K, but we record in 1080. Mostly because most places people can't even watch 4K right now. But it goes back to storage space.
Yeah.
I go through a lot of space, and we do 1080/60 pretty much on everything. And
Yep.
I mean, in my opinion, it looks good and we like it. So we're going to do that until
Well,
we
and
have to make the jump to 4K and get
well,
twice
I mean,
as many SD cards.
yeah. Well, and the struggle with 4K again, but like they're not able to watch 4K on their phones because of the way YouTube is going to cut it down. So
Yep.
yeah, that's crazy. Hey, 815, just jump back in. I do want to show a real quick spotlight on a product that he's developed. He's getting ready for 1.0 next year. He lives about 4 hours from you guys. He needs to come down and hang out, but he's built a twin turbo Fox body. He was driving it around, some needed a little more airflow, he felt like. So he created this trim ring. Let me get it pulled up here. See if I can do this without screwing it all up. But he created this trim ring and is selling them for folks that need them for their Fox body. I'm sure it can be adapted to other stuff. So here's one that he's got here on the Fox body with the square edges, and then this one here round. You can see, and you can get to him through 815 LSX Swaps there. So make sure you're following their page. Let me get down here. He's got another shot. So this is another shot here of it. It comes raw aluminum if you wanted it, or obviously, paint it, do whatever the hell you want to with it. He didn't give a shit.
We could have used that on Drag Week, cutting up the front end of Mountain Dew.
Yeah. So it's pretty neat setup there, and obviously, definitely want to help folks as we can. He's a good dude. He's helped us a ton grow the channel, and always supportive. So if he's offering parts that can help race cars, we definitely want to support that. So I'm glad he popped back in here, because I had told him I would do that early on in the podcast or live feed, and I completely forgot about it.
Perfect. You came back.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. I squirrel pretty bad in these things.
Hey,
so
talking about cars, you could go a long way out of the way with cars,
dude, and that's the struggle. So I've been trying to tone my stuff down, but we haven't even talked about like any other project cars, what you daily drive, anything like that. So let's run through that, and then we're going to get into some drag and drive stuff.
Sure.
So what do you daily?
So I've got a 99 Dodge Dakota. It's a V6, very basic. It was my grandpa's truck, and that's my parts getter, cruise around. And then I'm actually about to start racing my S10. I've had an S10 it's been a couple years now. I put a small block and a 5-speed in it. I think I put maybe a mile on that combo, and then I started hanging out with Nick. So I thought, instead of making a video with 100 views blowing up an engine, I'm just going to take it out and sell it.
Yep.
So like I said, I think it had a mile on it. I took it out, and now it's going to be a race car within the next few days. So
that's awesome.
It's good to finally have something coming together to be able to participate a little bit, because even though I love what I do, like, I haven't been able to enjoy actually be in some of the races. So
what's the power plant for it?
So it's a 6.0. It's pretty much a Gen 3.5. They're 2007, where it's a Gen 3 block, Gen 4 rods.
Yep.
It's going to be NA with a BTR Stage 3 cam, probably make 400 at the wheels.
Yeah.
It's a good starting point, because I haven't done any racing, as well as be able to be in a modified street class, so I can not be running around quite as much. I figured if I ended up in small tire, my running is going to increase a lot. Maybe being in this modified class, I'll at least be in a different line that I can still film and not have too many conflicts there. Yeah. We'll see. A couple of the races around here, like the Banger and then our airport race, are allowing NA combos to stay on a slick as of the rules now. So I'm excited to only be tested on one tire. And really just have a good starting point, because like you said earlier, hanging out with these guys is dangerous. Yeah, man. It would be bad. The setup I have now is where I planned to get to on my YouTube channel. Like, I was going to start with 200 horsepower in the small block with the 5-speed and just work my way up, and thought one day I'm going to have Holly, and one day I'm going to have a 6.0 that makes this much power, and that's where I'm starting now. So it'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to be able to actually participate now and race with the guys, even though they're making 2,000 probably. I'm
Yeah.
making 500, but
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I mean, like, it'll be nice to be able to move your way up. Is it regular cab, short bed S10?
Yeah,
What's
it's a regular cab long bed actually. It's an
Oh, cool.
83,
Yeah.
so it's unique to be the long bed.
Yeah.
Nick says he doesn't like long beds, but mine will be the only one he likes.
Yep.
Which I just liked it because for Indiana it was pretty rust free and decent condition. And
Dude, that's awesome.
I like try to be a little different in something. And I got about 9 more inches beyond the rear axle, so I'm hoping that helps me in the way of bias later. But we'll
Yeah.
see how the testing goes. And,
Are you gonna run those big long weight things out the back that the guys
I'm
are?
not going to, like I said, that 9 inches that the bed's a little bit longer is where I'm
Yep.
able to use some of that weight.
That's cool, man. That's cool. What's the trans setup in that?
It's a turbo 400.
Oh, sweet.
Pretty much everything in the
Yeah.
truck is built for 1,000 horsepower plus.
Yeah.
Even though I have a YouTube channel and I would have liked to blow some stuff up for content, I kind of skipped some of that. Like I go
Yep.
back and forth thinking, like, man, I should have, the 10 bolt would have been cool to, throw out of it or
Annihilate.
trans. And I'm thinking like,
Yep.
I should do it right. So, it has
Yep.
35 spline axles, a built trans, everything. It's going to have an 850K generally. Everything's going to be done.
That's cool.
And when I decide to throw everything else at it, it's set up for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's been longer because I did a lot of those parts, but I think it's going to be done the right way. I mean, hanging out with people like this.
Well, so here's the dilemma, right? You can have one that's running and fun, and when it breaks, it's down for a couple months. Like the old
Yep.
truck has been down for 3 months because we were getting the cart ready for 2.0. So, you can do that, and I live the broken car life because I enjoy seeing the destruction of stuff. I want to
Yeah.
go through that, but if I had been in your position, I don't think I would have blown up the small block that I'd had a mile on either. I think I probably would have sold it to fund extra parts.
That's what I decided. Now, if I
Yep.
had, more subscribers and like, oh, sure, this would have been awesome. But when you
Yeah.
got 100 people looking at it, I'm like, it's not going to pay me anything to blow this
Yep.
up. So I
Yep.
decided to take that out and hang out with these guys and
Yeah.
that leads me to how us getting involved. I had LS swapped my 85 C20 a couple years
Yep.
ago. And once again, you got to make a video to impress a guy.
Mhm.
I LS swapped the truck, modified a stock harness, and got it going in a couple months. That was another thing that he's like, right on. That's cool. Like, that's why we're going to hire you. Like, it wasn't just the videos. It wasn't just, something along the lines of work ethic or anything. It was like, you've experienced this.
Yeah.
So when I showed up in their LS swap, LS engines are what we do. That's what we take apart, throw together, swap out. I had already done that, and that made a huge difference because if they were doing big block stuff or we're tearing apart this Ford motor, like I had no idea what I was doing. So that made a difference when we're talking through stuff I've done. He's like, dude, that's awesome. Like I can leave you to go do that, and that's just how. In my head and how I want to do stuff, how can I sell myself to do more, be more valuable? How can I? So when Mountain Dew's broke and he's got to work on a customer car, I can work on that entire day and do it without him having to show me everything or just because we've had experience doing that before. And it makes a difference because I don't have to spend as much time working on customer cars, which is cool. I'm either editing a video or you have to rebuild the race cars. And it makes it cool to be able to do that. And work on something that we've done before. That makes a difference in how much we can get done.
Yeah. Well, and, you and I talked before we started recording or before we went live that, having I would say a predetermined engine power plant set, whatever LS swaps or mod motors or coyotes or whatever you want to do, but having that one, you end up with extra parts all the time, which is a plus. And then two, you just know your way around it better. You know your way around an LS swap or an LT swap, all that kind of stuff. You know your way, what a Gen 3 will take, when a customer comes in and wants you to build that stuff. So speaking of building stuff, let's talk about drag week. and race weeks and
Yeah.
how, like, I want to hear like your favorite parts of those, and then I want to hear how you handle, like, is your drag week or not drag, is your 1.0 stuff, do you typically like to put out a video a day, or do you want to do a higher quality 30-minute video, you know, once you get home?
I think in terms of being able to enjoy the people and be a part of it, race week, Rocky Mountain, you know, in June, whenever that was, that was definitely my favorite for the reasons of getting to meet people, getting to see the scenery. I mean, you compare driving videos in Indiana versus driving videos in Colorado.
Yep.
That was awesome. Like the video I made would have been the week after race week, was just a 2-minute little 2-minute video of just the whole week, the you know, the best stuff, and it just was so cool to watch and see all the cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
I want to say it would have felt like a longer week because I edited the entire drive, but for some reason I was okay with that. I mean, I think part of it was that I didn't realize the drives. You know, I'd get there like, are we here already? And
right.
I was busy editing.
What do you use? What do you use for your editing software?
It's all Adobe Creative Suite with Premiere, After Effects, Audition, all those.
That makes sense.
It makes it easy to use all that stuff together when we're doing logo stuff, Illustrator, Photoshop, all that. But I did enjoy getting a video out every single day at race week and having a little bit of response from it because it was happening at that time, just like you said about your video.
Yeah.
For the first ones, you know, it's a huge impact in how it does. And that's difficult because if you put a 10-minute video together with one camera, awesome. Well, we're over here trying to do something with all these GoPros, and it makes it hard.
Yeah.
But I think you see comments like this, like from Eric, you know, that he likes the vids. I think it makes a difference because we do all that other stuff.
Yeah.
It's a big game. I mean, to figure out what to do.
Right.
Drag week, we did consider doing some videos, but we didn't have downtime. I mean, even me as the guy that wasn't supposed to help on the car, we were still driving into the night when it was 4 a.m. So I don't know, trying to edit when we stopped a lot. We had a 4.5 gallon cell,
dude.
And on
brutal.
Race week, we had a 15 on race week. So that, you know, 150 miles. I was editing that whole time. Who cares if we got out and filmed? You know, did some rolling stuff. But when we leave the track at the end of the day and then drive till that time in the morning, I just wasn't gonna edit. I mean, I and it's tough because it seems like there's about 2 hours there you absolutely cannot avoid when editing a video, and that's to get it prepared. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people know that. They think, oh, you know, turn it on and go. Yeah. Well, at the end of the day at race week, I had however many gigabytes of footage, whether it was 50 or 100 between all the GoPros. That has to get downloaded and then in the folder and then processed in the editing software. That's a decent amount of time that you got to set aside to do that. And that's 2 hours I would lose every time just to get ready to do it. And it made it difficult. Now, like I said, I almost feel bad that we're a couple weeks trying to get the videos out now, but I wanted to put the time into them, and there's a lot of stuff. Like when I made the first one and it was 41 minutes, I think our longest video before this is probably like 22 or something. Yeah. But I send it, you know, me and Nick are watching it, and it's like, we did a lot of stuff. Like, I don't think anybody's going to think it's too long. Everybody's always telling us to make a longer video. Now, us as race car people, we skip through all that stuff. Like, I want to watch the racing. But the people at the track say, hey, I want to know about that. I want to know about the store. I want to know about the gas station stops. Like I said, the stuff that we skip through as race car guys. People want to watch it. So when these videos they've just been 30 minutes. I don't want to cut out a lot of the drama or cut out. That's just how it is. And like we said earlier, there's a big audience difference from YouTube and Facebook. The amount of people that I think are going to say, hey, why have you already seen this? Or I already know you won. No, we have the comments that say, good luck, man. Hope you do good. Or
yeah, you're like,
can't
what?
wait to see the next one. And
yeah.
You realize that people are on YouTube, and even the people on Facebook are okay that those videos are later.
Yeah.
So we go back and forth on. I like the daily videos just because it goes along with the week when we share it.
Yep.
People are the audience of that, but it just takes time.
Well, and again, there was a time like when I was uploading one video, I'd had like 2.5 hours of sleep the night before, and it was gonna be 2 hours of sleep that night, and like the screen for the download on YouTube would say like 10 minutes, and I'd set a timer on my phone for 10 minutes, and I'd go to sleep. I think people enjoy watching that stuff in the moment. Bang Shift does a really good job of the live feed during the day, but there's not a lot of in the pits type of action that are coming from that. I feel like Adam Dory has said for Sick Week that he'll be, if there's downtime on the track, he'll be set up with a live camera. Cool. We intend to go live a ton on Sick Week because I'll have more time, and I think that'll probably be the progression. But people are still going to want that high quality 30-40 minute video.
And
as people move away.
That. I think we got that on Facebook and Instagram. We tried to keep up with it each day, and that kind of was that fill. And that's what I think allowed us to make these videos later. Like, that's okay. People appreciate that. People see that.
Yep.
They want to see that, like you said, they want to see the high quality video, even if it takes a little while. We want to do it right, because when you export and upload a 30-minute video, you're talking about half a day just to accomplish that. So especially when we don't have good internet. So I might drive to Adam's house and sit for an hour and a half for it to upload. And it's like, that's part of it. And it's tough sometimes because I'm a type of person that wants to stay busy and be productive, but we wait on a lot of stuff. And I tried to do other work on my laptop at the same time, and it usually ends in the laptop crashing. So I've given up. Like when I'm exporting something, I let it go, because I've wasted those hours of having to restart something and lose something.
Oh yeah. Yep. So and what's funny is a lot of times I'll get halfway through and go, oh man, I should have put this in. And then you pull all that back out, you open the file back up, you add the video.
When we were in Indy, it was like a 35-minute video, and I duplicated a clip. And Nick caught it. We're sitting inside watching it, and it was one clip, and then we watched it again. I'm like, dang it.
No.
The next morning, another 35-minute video upload, all that. But we strive for it to, look awesome. And I like the comment there, difficult between quality, time and quantity. And it's actually, I wrote down a couple of notes, and I have something here that says quality versus quantity versus time. So
that's crazy. You and Turlo right on the money.
That is, if I talk to an Instagram, social media person, or somebody does a little poll that says, what do you guys want to know? That's the question I ask. Just even if it's a short, their take on it. I think that is so high up in importance and something to consider. If there's any advice I give, is consider that and weigh each one to your own, because it's tough. And Nick's funny. He doesn't usually care, he does care. But if I'm making a video and I say, I send him a rough draft and I say, I'd like to, fix the audio and clean this up and put some cool music over this. It's not that important to him. It's like, it's cool. It was awesome the way it was. But me being a video person, I want to make them awesome. And it's difficult because you have to weigh that. How long before you post it? How long did you edit it? And it's hard. It's extremely difficult, because you look at like some of the bigger YouTubers, their videos aren't that awesome.
No,
you realize they're vlogging. They got their phone.
Yep.
What they filmed is probably just as much they put in the video. A lot of those people, it's bam, bam, bam. Me, no. I got 100 gigabytes of footage for a 30-minute video, and
Yeah.
it's hard to weigh those, and I think we've gotten better at it.
Well, and so, our plan early on was quantity. I was gonna throw out a video every time we were in the shop, and that became like 3 times a week, right? So I'd go inside, I'd jump on my phone, I'd edit a video real quick, and I'd throw it out. The struggle is we now have 600 plus videos loaded to YouTube and 2,600 subscribers, because it was taking months to get stuff finished. Where now I have 3 full videos that are just laying back. There's a ton of content that I haven't even edited. I have the video in my mind of what I want it to look like, but I don't have the 4 hours it's going to take to edit that video because we have so much content for it.
It's hard, and that's why my YouTube stuff hasn't picked up, the previous couple of years, because I ended up making one video LS swapping my C20, and it was from getting the engine at the junkyard and it running, just because I wanted enough content for the video, and I wanted something kind of substantial and the time to edit it. And by the time I got to that point, that's what the video was. And so many people now, and this is what we're trying to do, is to tell what's happening today, or tell what's happening these couple days. And that's hard to do, or it's sometimes hard to realize that people want to watch that. And when we show up to a race and somebody says, "No, show us that." Well, I don't care what you're doing. Like, you're in the shop, tell us what you're doing. And sometimes that's hard to do. And we've, like I said, we've gotten better at it. But it's hard to solidify. Here's 10 minutes. This is what we got going on. You got to dumb it down some.
Do you think you guys will do some shop update type videos, like a weekly shop walkthrough?
I think we need to do something like that. And I think that in itself, you telling us that we need to get better at finding out what people want to see, because especially me, we kind of get tunnel vision of like, this will be cool, we'll do this, or we'll build this. And we don't know people want a shop tour. Like, you just bring it up, like, people don't know where we work, or people don't know what's happening all the time. And we're finding out that people want to know that stuff, even though they're like, we're not that cool. Like,
well, but here's the thing, and I was leading to this, was that there's a lot of guys out there that are sitting at their desk all day during work, and they've got an earbud in, or they've got a video on the bottom of the screen playing, and they're living through you guys because they would love to do that, but they can't. And so with customer cars, especially, this is a case with what we saw at NWA Streetworks, was that if you are constantly moving stuff through, right, it allows you different tags and different things like that to get a whole new 67 fastback Mustang guy that's looking for that kind of stuff. So like shop updates are always good. The dilemma you run into is you have content, you have tons of content that you can put out, so like the branding yourselves as racers is almost what you've done. I feel like is what you've done with the channel, but like how, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, but how does that build into customers for the shop and things like that? So,
and that one in particular is our dyno. And I've probably got 4 or 5 dyno videos that I can post and get done. And that sells our service as tuning. And Nick will say, "Hey, let's get one of these videos up." So we post one of those videos, and immediately, moments after we post the video, someone sends the text, "What are your rates? How can I use this?" And we're like, mission accomplished. We're just reminding people.
That's exactly right.
And I think that was just a Facebook video.
Who do you, what brand of dyno do you guys have?
It's a Dynocom.
So there's, just so you know, because I went through this with Allison Black. I don't know if you've met her, but so there's a new update that's coming that you can select to automatically go live on Facebook or YouTube whenever you have a car on the dyno.
That's
so
crazy.
So we were going to get into all that just because I think people want to see that stuff, so we had discussed about just setting up a camera just to do that, and the guy just hits record or on whenever whenever they put a car on the dyno.
And it is an opportunity for customer cars because we get unique stuff in there. And that's where you go back to the fact that when I start here, I told the guys, you got so many videos. Like if we run out of content with this car, we can use all of these cars.
Yep.
And we've been busy. I mean, heck, I probably got a month's worth of videos now.
Yep.
So it makes it hard, but the opportunity is there. And I think you're going to mention that we talk about how it affects the business, and it does. And we make a video about the dyno that promotes our dyno. It promotes our tuning. There's more there when those videos post, and that's where, sure, we do cool stuff, and we want to share that because people want to watch it. It really has to benefit the business, to be successful and to get its worth.
Well, let's do this. I had a couple more. I want to dive into some drag week stuff and like your favorite tracks and things like that. But I think while we're on this, let's jump into a segment we call the Business of Burnouts, which is automotive performance guys talking about automotive performance stuff, like their shops, their ability, their, in your case, the social media and YouTube side of it, how that affects the business and things like that. So I'm going to play this super cool intro that Destroyer 1320 threw up for us. I'm going to drop his email right here. If anybody would like something that looks like this, you can email him, and he has a ton of stuff. He's helped us on all of our videos, all of our intros, all of our neat stuff that we do. He has helped us do that. So let's get this video up for that, and then we'll get right into those questions.
Cool.
So to give a little more, I want to say thanks to Destroyer 1320. I love that we have one that's coming up that we're working on together. That is, it's going to be really cool. That was something he literally threw together in 3 minutes the other day. Nice. The Business of Burnouts is a segment that we do, again, that just helps tell the story of what it's like to live in the daily life of automotive performance, right? So you guys obviously having a shop is a big plus because it gives you tons of content like we talked about. Yep. But what we're going to talk about in this is a little more about how social media and YouTube channel and all of that helps grow the business, helps establish your brand. It's probably the biggest reason shops need to have social media and actually participate on it. If people comment on a post, why wouldn't you answer that or say thanks or give it a like? There's so many times where I see a shop has posted something that's cool, that's getting some traction, and then there's all these comments and there's nothing from them. It's like they just posted it and walked away. So Turlo's Garage here says Eric does some incredible graphics. Eric is Destroyer 1320. So let's jump in. We're going to start right out. I figured we would recap real quick for the folks that have jumped in a little bit late, how you became the video and photo guy for Mac TV. So if you want to do it, just a quick run through of like how that happened.
Yeah. So it would have been about a year ago that I went to a race with the sole purpose of making a video and then having Nick, respond to that video and give me a job. And it pretty much turned out that way with a couple pictures and the video. And here we are. I mean, making YouTube videos and trying to make a thing of it. And I'm blessed to, for Nick to have some of the resources to be able to do it because I enjoy it and want to be a part of like making it successful. And I think that's hard to grasp for some people. Like, oh, you're doing this for them, or you have it in the mind of, what's 6 months from now. But yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're an adult. You think ahead.
Yeah.
Let's give folks a recap of your current, like what you would have at a race for your camera setup.
So I've got 2 Canon DSLRs. They're T7Is, pretty much twins, so I can change all the parts over. And then 5 or 6 GoPros, and a Rode microphone with the little like squirrel tail. That's what they call it. Right? Everybody's like commenting on the squirrel tail. It helps with the wind a lot, but that's what I use and edit with Adobe Premiere, After Effects, Photoshop, all that stuff that works really well together.
That's cool. Yep. Hey, 815, thanks for stopping in, dude. Appreciate it. I hope the trim rings sell like hotcakes. And you can do that full time and then race with us all the time after that. So
more racing. That's good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And in here we talked about it not long ago, but the typical day for you.
So on that, like when the days we go racing, it's 12, 14-hour day probably. Hit the road, get there, go racing for the entire day, whether it be till midnight, 3 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
GoPros rolling all the time in the cars, trying to get interviews, the action, try to take photos at the same time, and then a couple of hard days when we get back, trying to organize and edit stuff to post. A normal day here when we're not racing is just catching up on a month's worth of stuff that needs to be posted. Make those videos, be pretty consistent on social media. I, which I think at the beginning Nick thought I'm the video guy, that I am the social media guy automatically,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I'm really not that guy. I am now because
Yep.
that's what we do. It was kind of funny. He asked me one day about making more posts on Facebook and Instagram. We had slowly creeped up to it, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, like, how did I get here? What steps led to, like, it wasn't that I didn't want it. I just looked
Yep.
back and like, dang, I wish I would have taken a social media class, because
Yeah.
that's what we do now. And I think people think the video guy is the social media guy. And I'm like,
Well, yeah, you just
kind of.
yeah.
I have the video, but
Yeah.
to make a good caption and to do it the entire day, because like you said,
Yeah.
you make the post in the morning, whatever. If you don't respond to the comments or share it again or
Yeah.
share it to something else, it's useless. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, and I struggle to keep up with it. We try to delegate what I should be doing each day to kind of get to everything, but it's a whole day of editing, and then whenever I gotta head in the shop and work for an hour, or if I edited a bunch and I can take one day to build a race car, I enjoy that. I mean, sometimes that's the easier side of the job, and I can not look at a laptop for a day. Like me and Austin, one of the guys here, did a torque converter swap in a Corvette. It took us the entire day. I mean, it was a 7-hour job, and I was so happy to do it. I mean, sure, there's a couple spots you're frustrated, like, oh, I've never done this before. But we got it in, got it out, and I was just glad to wrench on something. And
instead of wrenching on Adobe Premiere.
I love it. I enjoy what we do, but if I could get it closer to 50-50, I'd be happy with that, just because you need a break, and I enjoy working on stuff. Now, some of the customer cars that aren't race cars, I'll let some of the other guys do that when I'm editing. But if I get the opportunity to work on something for half a day, I like to, and that makes the company money, and then that's number one goal is to do that. So if I have the opportunity to do that, I like to.
That's awesome. So you talked about social media, and what's funny is if you're walking around with a camera all the time, you're suddenly the media guy, which obviously means you got to be the social media. So what's your favorite social media platform?
Gosh, with Instagram and Facebook being, I mean, heck, they're owned by the same people now or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty seamless that those are kind of like one. I think Facebook works better for us and the type of people we have following us and sharing. Instagram, I feel like if you're not doing reels, you're probably not getting much out of it. So that makes it hard. Now, Instagram stories, we do decent with when they gets with 1320 and stuff like that. But I think Facebook, especially being connected to our Shopify and being connected to the people that support us, I like using Facebook, and there's a lot of good dialogue that goes on there that maybe we just haven't hit yet with Facebook or with Instagram. Facebook seems to be working the best for us right now.
Yep. What's funny is we have more than double the followers on Instagram, but we'll have more interaction and engagement, I guess was correct word. We'll have more engagement with Facebook every time. So this is
Ryan over here. This is one of the guys that works here.
What up?
He's going to feed our cat. Our cat had kittens, and they all look the same. And he's going to
yes, yeah, they're all white. And are they still all around there for adoption?
Yes, they are. I think there's 4 left. I'm not sure, but they all look exactly the same. But
yeah, I saw them on Nick's post the other day. Adorable. if my wife is watching this, we are not getting another cat.
That's funny.
We have plenty of cats. All right. So this is kind of in depth here, but how has having a dedicated person helped to grow? Let's start with like the reach of the shop, and then how that affects like parts and merch sales and acquiring, new customers.
I think to start with, I kind of had a list / proposal kind of idea of like, what things can I do for Nick, for Mid America Kustoms early on, and that list has changed along the way. But I think this is where I lose some people and them realizing what we do is in the right mind to own it and to make Mid America Kustoms more than what it is, or strive to do that. Whether it's because heck, we live here, or we hop in the car and go to drag week on a moment's notice, or a 5 days notice, whatever it may be, it's all to be a part of it. And I told Nick early on that, like, I want to be that guy. I don't want to be the video guy that you say, hey, you're going to film this, edit this, and post this. Like, that's so simple of a thing. Now, that may be the easy thing. I wanted it to be, sufficient and sellable for the whole thing. So, that goes from whether that video we make, number one, promotes us and gets more subscribers. Does that video promote a product we have? Now, when we posted a video about the long travel suspension on the S10, there's a lot of dialogue going on about that build, and that maybe sold parts because it has gap brackets on it. We're using these control arms, stuff like that sells products to make money.
Yeah.
And that's up there in what we try to do, because the more products we can sell, that's what we can do to improve the business. I mean, that's kind of what the end game to where we go. In addition to that would be like the dyno. When we make a dyno video, that usually promotes that somebody wants to get a tune, use the dyno, and that makes us money.
Yeah.
I think end goal and how we approach all this is like, if we can make YouTube videos and earn a living, that's the goal. If we ever make it there someday, that's what we strive for. That's what we work towards each day.
Yeah.
And think, how do you do that? I don't know. Like even the 6, 8, whatever it is, 10 months I've been working here, we're still learning. I think we will always learn. And Nick knew that from the beginning. Like, well, whatever, I probably had 20 subscribers on my YouTube channel when he hired me. Like, I didn't have anything to show for it. It's like me saying, I want to help you succeed. That's a tough thing to look at. Like, even though I made that one video, that was the point of what I did there. But I didn't know how long it was going to take or how long it is going to take. I think I told Nick, I said, if we could get to 3,000 subscribers by June or July, I would have been happy. Like, that's kind of where since I had no idea what, how the stuff was going, that just seemed like a good benchmark. I think we hit that in April or May. I mean, it was a little ahead of where I pictured.
Cool. Yeah.
Because when I started, they had 700. And I was happy to see that, because I thought, man, 5 years from now, to say that we started with 700 or whatever it may be, that's cool. We're able to start with something and go for it.
And
I think.
So I was looking at it today. You guys are at 6,600 subs, and you've got 100 videos up. I mean, like, when I want people to understand, like, how many videos I think they had 3 videos on the channel when you started. 3 or 4, maybe.
There was a little more than that, but they were all pretty short and not entailed. I mean, it was just stuff. Well, and it kind of shows the benefit that I've been able to help. And when you mentioned it earlier, you can have as cool content, as cool work, if you can't get it out in a timely manner or have somebody to film it. It's hard to make a thing of it. And I guess I'll answer that now. Me being able to do that, set aside, and they're working, they're racing, it's huge. I mean, And I know the amount that I do with the cameras. If I'm doing that by myself as the driver, trying to get that, that's
Yep.
hard. And
Yep.
I mean, it's tough, and I think that makes a difference when we try to make good videos, because the
Yeah.
amount of comments we get, and it helps my job security in a way. You see the comment that says, "Awesome job. It looks good." My favorite comment is, "Why don't you have 100,000 subscribers?"
Yes.
'Cause,
You're like,
like,
we're on our
yeah,
way.
we're trying that. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Share this video. That'll help us. Hey,
Exactly.
I want to call out Destroyer 1320. Thanks, dude. We talked a whole bunch of shit on you earlier. I want to say thanks for dropping in before his live feed, which I think is here in about 40 minutes. Him celebrating a year of being of a weekly live feed for Destroyer 1320's channel. So for everybody that's new that hasn't been listening, he's awesome, dude, and go subscribe to his channel too. So if you haven't subscribed to Mac TV, I'm gonna thump somebody. So
Yeah, go subscribe to Mac TV for sure.
yeah. Okay, so sorry, we were talking about important stuff there, but anytime somebody drops some money, we got to call them out and thank them and all that kind of stuff. So,
but yeah, being able to be that extra guy filming, it just helps to the quality, and I think people have recognized that, and it's tough because we make a video that we think is good, or we may have spent more time on it to, you know, like the Gap Train video you showed. We spent quite a bit of time on that, so it would look good. And some of these videos may not get the views that we hope for. And it's, I think we've started to figure out what people want to see. And just based on let's say the 6,000 people that watch or whatever that may be, if we figure out what they want, I can spend more time doing that, because, you know, we're ripping around the Volvo in 5-degree weather around the pond, and the video gets 500 views. Like, in my eyes, like, dude, that's awesome. That's people are gonna love it. And then it gets 500 views. And then we go racing, and that video gets 10,000 views. And it's kind of a bummer, because like, oh, that was so fun. But if I can use my time, you know, to do the things that people want, that is the thing to do. Like, there's no reason wasting a whole day to edit that video if it's not what the people want. And that's tough, because, you know, we enjoy that, and we think at some point people are going to like that. But at the end of the day, I'm getting paid, you know, to promote and be that person to do, you know, whatever it takes to create a more social media presence, or whatever that may be. So that's hard to figure out what people want.
Right. So let me ask you this, because this is something I tried to preach to NWA, was that like how many automotive shops do you think need a person like this? Maybe not somebody full time, but that could benefit from somebody doing that for them.
It's, I think, just bare bones, it promotes what you're doing, and everybody can use that and have that as a thing to promote and improve business. And I actually talked to somebody the other day with FSI Speed, who's here with us. They have a shop, and he was talking about making some videos. And I said, at its most basic form, you got your iPhone or you got a GoPro. It doesn't have to be awesome. You making a 10-minute video just showing what you're doing, you know, will get somebody to look at your brand, look at what you do, and they have a dyno. Like, even if you only post dyno videos and we don't care about maybe anything else in the shop, that dyno video could bring you business. Yes, Eric, we'll get on that. Maybe this or I'll say maybe when something slows down, but
that doesn't happen.
We'll scratch that. But, you know, anybody that, and that's what I'm trying to figure out talking to Nick, is what basic videos can we post to promote our business. For me, I want 10 minutes. I want 15 minutes. I want 20 minutes. And we just need to make videos that aren't for YouTube and make them for Facebook. And because that 3-minute video on YouTube, it's not going to do worth a darn. I know it for a fact. And those daily vlog type, this is what we're working on, maybe they belong on Facebook. that becomes a tough thing because, like I said earlier, we have a fan base that's only on YouTube.
Yeah.
So you're trying to balance that. But everywhere, I mean, just a video, something is drawing somebody to your business. I mean, and doing something kind of unique. Now that adds another group to it. Now, let alone just tell what you're doing. Now do something cool.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's hard to do. But for instance, when we were on Drag Week, we posted, and this was part of the reason why we didn't post on Drag Week. We had all of our Hoonigan California content the same week as Drag Week.
Yep.
And I have to tell you, not more than probably a half hour after Hoonigan's video aired, somebody comes running over to the car and said he'd seen the car. Like, this was the video that was, this is the car that was on that video.
Yep. And
right there, you realize that promoted our business, that promoted our car. That's why we have to keep the wide end front, that way for a little while. The front end has to stay white for a little while. I mean, does
that drive Nick crazy?
Not really. I don't. There's a few guys that say it will, like, oh, that looks hideous. I'm like, no, I'm gonna put my foot down. It's white for at least a few months because
it don't have to be pretty. It's just got to be fast.
And if you've seen some of the most recent pictures, that is a fact. The car does not look pretty, and it has a lot to say about what we do because it looks like that. But everything is to promote. Whether it's to get us customers or to sell parts, that really is the end goal besides trying to make a thing at YouTube. That's a whole thing in itself, but we can't do that without the resources to get it there.
The resources of customer cars and that kind of stuff. So Turlo says the white front does make the car more recognizable and unique.
For
sure.
How many other ones are like that? I mean, it does draw the attention to it.
Yep.
And if that in itself sells a T-shirt because somebody recognized the car, that's improvement to the business.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, takes me to the next thing would be the merchandise stuff.
Hey, hang on. Eric says if Mountain Dew doesn't have a white front end, he's unsubscribing.
Then I'm unsubscribing to Family Man Racing. You be trying.
So let's talk merch because we mentioned the word branding earlier. I mean, I think branding would definitely encompass merch sales and everything like that. So
the biggest thing is our goal each time we post something or build something is for branding purposes. And whether that's because it's something cool or it's something fast or to help somebody out, whatever that may be, it's to get a better brand. And that's why we went to California. We hopped in the truck and drove 36 hours and just did that.
You guys are nuts.
I mean, but we knew that's exposure to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
We met a lot of people there. We met a lot of people on the way. That benefits what we do. In terms of merchandise, in my opinion, that we're lacking in it because we haven't made enough stuff, and that, I mean, is on me as in us getting it out there, and also resources to do so because a box of T-shirts isn't cheap. But finding a way to do that, we hope to sell hats similar to these at some point. This T-shirt, I don't know when I designed this one, a while back with the Mountain Dew thing on the back. When we did that, it was a huge hit. Like we sold quite a bit. And
I was gonna say I had one of those on yesterday. I should have worn it tonight. I will say that's one of the biggest benefits to y'all stuff is your shirts are cool. Like it's I'm wearing a Cole Reynolds shirt today, and people have to want to either support you. We funded the Narcs cart by shirt sales. Like that's literally how we did it. And then by other fans donating more money and things like that. But now that we're past that, how do we take a Narcs cart shirt and sell that consistently, and not spend $3,000 to buy that shirt up front or to buy the 100 shirts you're hoping to sell.
It's a hard thing to do. Like I said, it's not like we don't want to, or it's not like anything's lacking besides we need to promote more stuff and make more T-shirts. Now, selling enough to fund the next batch, that's always the trouble. And
Yep.
Once again, making something that people want. We've every once in a while post something like, hey, do you want to see this? Or would you buy this shirt?
Yep.
At some point, that should become sustainable in a way of like people want to keep supporting it.
Yeah.
We have a different car on the t-shirt, or
Yep.
a different saying, whatever is going to
Yeah.
pick up. It's hard, and it's on me to just to do more, and for us to be able to buy more merchandise to sell. And,
Yeah.
and it's a hard thing to do, and we'll get there. Like I said, we're working on
Yep.
more designs now that we'll get out there at some point and hopefully do something with that. But
Yeah. I was going to say one thing, and it just popped in my mind. Again, I'm going to squirrel real bad on this stuff because this is what interests me the most, is this side of business. And that's why I wanted to put that in this part here. But, there's a ton of guys that will do like a pre-order type sale.
Yep.
And then they base the pre-order on how many shirts they order total, and that has been a good way because, one, it gives you a way to promote shirt sales or merch sales without like cramming it down people's throats saying, hey, we've got shirts for sale this week, things like that. So Old Car Guy, I want to say thanks. I'm actually on their show, live show on Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central. So watch over there too. Subscribe to them so you'll see it too. Sorry.
Nice.
So anyways, back to shirt sales.
But for us, it comes down to, like I said, at some point, can you make it sustainable? Can you sell enough shirts that it makes us enough money to fund a project, and really just figure out what people want? So that's a good point. When you do the pre-order, you're going to realize how many people want it, or how many want that type of shirt. Because then, people start asking us, so are you going to have kids sizes? Are you going to have women's? And it's like, yes, at some point, hopefully we can get to where we can, change it up and have more of a variety.
Yeah.
It just takes time.
Well, and the one thing, folks that are for the people that are live with us now and that will listen to this in the future, we do a charity race every year. And so we order shirts. Unfortunately, I didn't get them this year because I didn't order in time, but like we'll spend $2,300 on 150 shirts, and we do that to raise money for a children's shelter. But like, if you're talking about for a business, as car guys, I would much rather spend $2,300 on car parts than shirts that may sit there, and I may sell enough shirts to pay for the initial order, but then it may take me another 6 months to get rid of them. And I'm going, hey, please just buy these shirts for $5 or $8,
and that's where, like my idea, just like that comment there about the artwork. A lot of stuff we're doing now, I'm trying to design the Mid America Kustoms one with all the cars. Somebody designed that one, and that was separate. The Gap Train one was separate. But what we're trying to do now is the in-house design. And that's tough because, once again, I try to delegate, hey, can I spend an afternoon designing a shirt and then edit, trying to fill in, make it a new shirt, find a way to fund it, and then getting them ordered. It's a difficult process. And like I said, we hope to branch out more and have more. It just takes time and money.
Car guys are funny because like a lot of the shirts that I want to give like $20 shipped for a shirt that will eventually end up in the shop, but I'll give $30 for a really nice, like the multi-car shirt. You know what I mean? Like that has all of the stuff that you guys are known for, so like, and that won't end up in the shop. That'll end up in the good side of my closet.
Yes, you gotta have some of those, even though they're all black car t-shirts.
Yeah, my going out shirt.
Going out shirt. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, my fancy shirt. So we talked about the exposure. I want to stay on that and talk about like, has the extra exposure from obviously, like, do you think you guys would have ever been invited to Hoonigan if you had not been as crazy on YouTube and with the cool videos?
I don't think so, and I think that in a way is part of why we pushed some of the stuff we did was to get attention. Because once again, somebody mentions, hey, you should invite this guy. If you don't have something crazy for it, or you don't have some sort of reason for them to invite you or do, it's meaningless. And that definitely is what we strive to do. Like, what can we do that's maybe crazy to get there, or prove somebody wrong in a way that, you know, we did it, or it's something we shouldn't have been able to do. And it's just, and we don't, and Nick's on the same page as me on this. We don't want to have to reach for it in a way. Like, if YouTube becomes a business for us, you have to reach for it. Like, that's your goal.
Yeah.
That's in mind. That's how you make money. But we don't exactly want to be in the mindset of how can we get these views, or try to hang out with this person to get that, or, you know, try to throw people's name around to step up to that. We do that sometimes in respect for, like, you know, who we spend time with and stuff like that. But for instance, after Drag Week, there was a lot of Facebook posts that were really cool and respectful of just, you know, they're appreciating what we did. And you get guys like Tom Bailey that comes over to the car and says what's up, and wants to talk about the car and tell you you're crazy. And then you in our last video, or 2 videos ago, we go and ask Joe Barry for some red Loctite, you know. And he's like, you know, what car are you guys with? They're like, oh, the green Mustang. And he's like, oh, you guys are all right. No problem, you know, and keep doing what you're doing. But for a guy like that to respond, you know, to a Facebook post, and to either to share something or just to have reached people like that, is what makes it worth it for us. Because you see we're doing something right, and you see that people want to see more of it. I mean, Tom Bailey, for instance, you know, just saying, you know, it's a cool car, awesome job with this, you know, maybe we'll see you at Sick Week. Like, that's really cool. And views and subscribers aside, that's the cool stuff that we want to do, and for people to see. Because it in turn will lead to the other. When we can spend time with some of those people, it adds to views. And like I said, for me, and I say it's job security, because it's funny, like those comments are awesome for me, you know. And it puts it in perspective, like, oh, you spent so many hours on this, or maybe we spent a lot of time doing this. Will it pay off, or will it? And Eric from, you know, Family Man Racing, he's always commenting on stuff and being really, you know, helpful with just sharing stuff and saying good job, and even telling us how we can do something different. It's cool to have those people around, and we're starting to see benefits of that. I don't know when we ever reach 100,000 subscribers. Like, if or when that happens, it's like we started here and we're trying so hard at it. And it's cool to meet the people that we have, and for it to fold over and some business for us as well.
And to have grown is what it is. I mean, think about the difference in a year. You've 10x'd the subscriber base, which I mean, there's some guys in the chat here that have, you know, great size channels. Old car guy, he just crossed 10,000. You know, I think Turlo's got like 38,000 or something like that. So, you know, you start looking at some of those guys, it's amazing that there's folks, you know, and I thought about this earlier too, but like there's guys sitting at home that just watch your stuff because they like you guys, they like what you do. I mean, and I think that's what I like so much more about YouTube as compared to, you know, watching like Street Outlaws or something on TV. A lot of that stuff is 6 or 7 months old, you know, and with YouTube, we're all trying to get as much content in front of everybody as often as possible. You know, so guys can watch that and see what's happening right now in the shop, and that's a huge plus.
Well, and I think for us, in a way of doing it so it's real, has gotten a lot of response from people of like, I'm glad you showed that. I'm glad you guys told us that. Like, you know, we could just show you us winning, or we could now blowing stuff up. Sometimes it's good for, you know, video views, but we like to show it as it is. And now you don't see our whole lives, but when we show something, it's like, here it is, here's the shop, this is what broke, and we're here to do this. It's really 2 a.m, you know. It's like, and I'm gonna pride ourselves in that for the future of what we do, it's got to be the real thing. And
Yeah.
you know, a lot of other YouTubers, they're the real thing. And
Yep.
sometimes stuff gets skewed, but you know, I want to make it our goal of this is the way it is. This is
Yeah.
how hard we worked. And if we lose, if we fail, if we do something wrong, you're going to know about it. And
Well,
we're not
one
afraid
of
to show that.
Well, one of the biggest benefits to doing it that way too is you're never a character. You're never trying to figure out, oh man, I need to be in character for this episode, or I need to be in character if I go to this thing.
Yeah.
You're not ever trying. You are you. You are showing you. You don't have to be somebody different when you show up to an event or something like that. And that's a huge plus, because then people watch you on YouTube or see your videos on Facebook or whatever, and then they walk up to you and realize you're the same way, you know. So like, and then they walk away and go, damn, that dude is exactly like he is on when I watch him on TV.
Well, and it's all here. Like we keep saying from the beginning, it's like, it's one thing if you have one car, it's one thing if you tried to make this content. All the content's here. We have the cars that break, like Austin's just finishing up his twin turbo RX-7, which will be in videos soon. We blew that car up last Wednesday. It made 2 awesome passes, so we were happy it was going fast.
Mm-hmm.
We immediately got in the truck, left everybody there that was still testing. I did an outro with Nick. I said, hey, go and do an outro. I'm going to go pull this engine out. So he kind of did a thing like, you know, Austin did this, we did this, we're going to keep testing, you know, we're out. We had that engine out an hour and a half. And
dang.
It's that kind of stuff that we have the ability to have the content, to have the real deal. And that's just what we do, you know. And at the end of the night, Austin's like, hey, thank you for helping me out with this. I'm like, man, this is what we do. And what else are we going to be doing? I'm so happy to fix this and make this happen with you. And it's like I said, the cars are here, the content's here, and there's no making it up. I mean, before we left for Drag Week, you know, engine, rear end, suspension, tires, cooling system in 5 days. Yeah. And to go as fast as it did.
I mean, that's wild, dude. Late 7s every day, right?
To think that the car could go in the 6s, yeah, fine, sure. Well, we're on the 4th pass. Like we were happy to do what it did, and we're gonna show that. Like, is this car capable of 8, 7, 6s? Maybe, who knows? Like, with no testing and a new combo, it was like, we're gonna show you how we fight this. We're gonna show you how we almost flip over. You're gonna see
the hood flew off. I mean, the day one video is absolutely awesome.
That's why it's covered in duct tape. And we're not trying to make a show car. We're not trying to, and that's what's cool. Adam likes to blow up engines. That will come around again, and we'll make a video on it. So, I mean, it's cool and stuff's real.
That's funny. Your dad here says Zach has never said this much in his whole life.
You'll realize I don't talk that much. 99% of the time I'm on the other side of the camera.
Well, dude, that was the struggle I had. Like, you had to send me a picture for me to use for the cover because I couldn't find it. I dug way back in all the stuff. All I found was a back shot of you taking a picture of a car. So
and that is funny because I spend all the time behind the camera. Nick, every once in a while, he flips it around. I was like, hey, people want to see you talk more. It's, I'm busy doing what I'm doing. But if you're talking about YouTube and building race cars,
you're the dude.
I'll talk all day long.
That's awesome. Turles, you're saying great interview. I have a few new channels to check out. Everybody have a good night. Thanks, dude. I appreciate you stopping by. All right. So let's talk kind of. This is an important part for a lot of the guys that are watching this, and that's the income side of YouTube and what Facebook and Instagram can bring as far as sponsorships and things like that. For the folks that don't know, becoming monetized on YouTube is a pretty big deal, especially for a small channel. You have to have 1,000 subscriber minimum total. Okay. But then within a rolling 12 months, you have to have 4,000 watch hours. That was the hardest one for us. We actually had friends watching. I mean, like, just put it on a playlist, man, please. And I had like some of our playlists have like 40 videos in it, and I'm like, just play them, just let it play, let it play. I got to get the time, you know. And but once you cross that point, it's like everything goes along well. YouTube kind of rewards you for a little bit of that. So, you know, our normal YouTube monthly check is about $80, you know, from our watches and stuff. So if you can go into some of that, we'd love to. If you want to stay vague, I'm fine with that too.
I'll stay a little vague, but yeah, I'll go into, especially from the beginning of, number one, getting the monetization, and then funny enough, with my YouTube channel now, I'll be doing the same thing. Like, I have, I think, 200 subscribers on my personal channel. I have one video I made in October that has 78,000 views.
Dang.
And it's it's probably a 10-minute video, but the opening 2 minutes is an awesome cinematic sequence of my buddy and his bobber motorcycle he built. And that has gotten me 3,400 hours or something, just that one video doing well.
Yeah.
But I got to get to 1,000 subscribers, and that the most views with that video started around, you know, May or June. So by then, you know, I'm trying to work just to get it for the heck of it. I don't post any videos right now because, I mean, my focus is here, what we're doing, and you know, Mac TV's kind of mine. You'll get there. You'll get there.
Y'all go watch some of Family Man Racing, damn it, right now. Well, after this, watch it.
Yeah, after this. But I feel definitely the need to be here and do this. And even though I might film videos with my truck and at some point get to that, I'm not the type of guy to feel right, I guess, spending time doing that when this is what we're doing. And Nick is cool with me owning it. You know, like, he's not all about me, the video guy, or me, you know, working for him. It's us. So that in itself, I feel like I'm a part of and can own Mac TV. As this is where we put our efforts and time. Gosh, I don't know when we got monetized. It would have been probably January or something. So there was about 2, maybe 3 months where it was just, let's get the videos out, get the views, get the, and the Gap train at Mentone Airport that has 70,000 views. That's what helped us on the hours. That's what helped us get there and made it happen. For me, really, most of what I do doesn't make money. So I sometimes, you know, you talk about the other guys in the shop, when they can stay busy on a customer car, you know, they make money and earn Nick money as a business. That's customer that, you know, you work hour for hour, it's bringing in money. Most of what I do does not. And it makes it difficult, you know, coming from a standpoint of how do you sell yourself? How do I keep working? How does Nick allow me and himself have the resources that allows me and him to be blessed in the way? Can we make this a success at some point? That's where I try to, you know, be productive everywhere, whether it's make a t-shirt that can make us money, you know, make a video of this product that can make us money. When it comes to the YouTube side of it, I would like that to pay me. If I can watch the ad revenue and that pays me, that's kind of my goal. If I'm not going to say we're successful at that point, but it gets to a point where I feel very like, hey, this work that I did brings enough money to pay me to do it, so we can continue. And it's improved for sure. I know we go in some months, it's like, oh, there's not a lot going on. The last couple months have been pretty good. It's finally taken a little jump to see something, you know, where you gotta pay the bills for an entire shop, pay 4 or 5 guys. It's not there, and it's not going to be there for a long time, but it's something. And I think, you know, keeping in mind people trying that is just looking at maybe what other people are doing to know this is doing a little better. one thing in particular, I could look through, if our video was longer than 20 minutes, it got more views. Our 22-minute video had 10,000 views. Our 18-minute video had 6,000 views. Like, there was a big jump. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
And it also does the difference in monetization, because there's 20 minutes, there's 30 minutes, more time for ads, you know? So,
yeah, right.
You hate to be that guy, like, oh, I'm going to, put more ads in here. But, we get people that tell us, hey, I watched the ads for you. And I'm like,
yeah. But think about that. All right. Think about if you're watching a 30-minute TV show, if you're watching 30-minute Street Outlaws, there's 4 commercials in that show.
Yeah.
Right. So as YouTubers, we're always like, oh man, I hate to put this in, dude, they're a 5-second ad that they can skip if they want to,
Yeah. And that's where we're, one other thing that I'll say that does well for us is our demographic. Our demographic is, 30 to 50-year-old males that build race cars. They have the money. So in turn of what kind of content you want to create, is your audience going to have money that can provide for YouTube? That makes a difference. So, like I said, that's kind of my advice and how we've approached some of the things. And like I said, if that, YouTube itself can help pay me and help us continue what we do, that's awesome. Because the days, if I have to go in there and work on a customer card to make us money so I can make videos next week, that's what I do. That's not a problem for me. But I know the harder we work right now, the more videos we do right now is going to push to that. And Nick has realized that, where he can say, hey, go spend your time doing this, because it's helping us sell the brand. And it just takes time.
Here's one thing that you guys just haven't had the time with is the backlog of the SEO work with the tags and the descriptions and things like that, of people randomly seeing the Gap Train on some TV show that they found, and then they go back and watch every video of that build,
And that's where the social media comes in. Like I'm a video guy. Like I said, from the beginning, I can make a video, work hard, and end up making something that looks cool.
Yeah.
Who cares if it doesn't?
If nobody sees it, what's it matter?
If they don't see it, it doesn't matter. And that's why the one video was 70,000 views. The next video, I think, has 13,000. And it's like, why? What is just it fit some keywords? It got in the algorithm. That's all there is to it. And if same way on my channel, that one motorcycle video, it wasn't anything spectacular.
Yep.
Somebody wanted to watch it. Somebody wanted to share it, and it got in to the algorithms.
Yep.
Whatever. And that's where it gets difficult, because I don't know what I'm doing. I mean,
no,
I don't. And like I said, if you want to make a video,
the struggle is, you may spend a month figuring out what will work, and then YouTube changes the algorithm. So you're almost better off to stay on what you feel like people want to see,
Well, and just recently I was looking at best time of day, best day of the week.
Yep.
And realizing, hey, there is actually a time for this. Whether somebody figured it out, I don't know. But we post the video and think, why didn't it do very good? And you're like, oh, maybe it was too late in the day. Maybe it was too early in the day. And like I said, the monetization side of it, it's a hard game. And even though, sure, we've been monetized for a few months, we know about this much. And I'm excited to learn more about it. And that's the only reason why I went to monetize on my channel a couple of years ago. Is like, if I could get to the point where I can learn some of this information, I'm excited just to get that side of it.
Well, let's dig in a little bit here. Family Man Racing had asked earlier what your personal channel is, so I figured we could drop that, and then we'll talk some about what Jason's.
It's Z Witty's Garage. It's a black logo, red letters, and I'll just be doing car stuff on there, some fishing stuff, kayaking, dirt bikes. I mean,
that's cool.
I kind of want to do everything, but
kind of a lifestyle. It's dude. I'm gonna tell you, like I've told everybody I've ever talked to that has a YouTube channel. If you don't document stuff, you won't have it later. I don't remember shit. Right? I have my memory is bad, but we have videos of my dad that we would have never had if I had not hit record. So I can't tell people enough to just record your stuff.
It's tough, mostly for the reason of I don't talk that much and am not the guy on video. So to do that is hard. And I wish I would have filmed more, but we look back, like I went down somewhere and caught my personal best bass off my kayak, and I had the GoPro rolling, and I go back and watch that video every once in a while from a year ago, whatever it may be, and it just puts a smile on your face, like, hey, we did this. Like if I wasn't filming, all it was me remembering it, or same way with our YouTube channel, Mac TV. We look back and we watch the stuff from California. That stuff, I was so busy editing other things, I knew I could not post it until they got done. I didn't look at that stuff for a month. And we open that up, and I'm sitting here in the office just laughing, and Nick's like, what are we watching? And it's just like we forget what we were doing. We forget what
dude
happened.
I'm telling you,
it's amazing, because you would think, oh, you went to Cal, that was such a cool memory. But you start watching, I'm like, dang, I can't believe I turned on a camera here. I'm so glad.
I don't remember that part. So I was talking to Jonathan Stonecipher about this the other night, because we've got some plans for Sick Week for what I can do to help grow the channel and stuff. And like I was telling him, I don't remember. I just don't, that stuff doesn't stay in my brain. I'm living like, what can I do next? What's my next thing? How can I get right there? And with him, he was like, man, you're just going to have to go back through those videos and watch that stuff and remember people's times and the stories of the cars and things like that.
Well, that's a good learning tool too, because I'll record taking an engine apart, and if I forget
dude, I've watched so many videos of mine where I took something apart.
It's a good idea for that, for that reason
too. So Jason's Garage here's talking about if you use TubeBuddy or any of the extra, I think there's vidIQ, things like that. Do you use any of that?
We have not. I mostly go through just the YouTube analytics and get the information I can from that based on the audience and stuff. But that would be a good idea.
TubeBuddy helps a ton. vidIQ helps a bunch as far as like picking your tags and things like that.
I'll have to look into that.
So we've used it for a long time. One thing and I just want to stay on TubeBuddy for a minute. One thing that's really cool is it gives you the stats and analytics of like the channel. So I can see, that's how I came up with that you had 100 videos total, that there were, hang on, let me flip back here. And then what also it gives you is like the views and count for the channel you're looking at for the month, for the previous 28 days. Which is typically what YouTube provides you with anyways. But now I can look deeper into your videos. I can see maybe what has worked for you that it would in turn, I would like to figure out how to work for me, cool. And all that kind of stuff. For everybody that's listening, me and Brian Late with Black Seed Originals and Destroyer 1320, we did a whole slew of videos on this called Brainstorm Sessions, where we went through and figured out what worked in. It was like 3 or 4 months ago. So all that stuff's probably outdated, but there's a lot of good tips and stuff like that in there. Jason's Garage here saying that TubeBuddy really helps the learning curve with tags and making thumbnails. And they really do. The hardest part, I think, let's talk thumbnails for a minute, because like your thumbnails are really good. You start popping up, and I'm going to pull up the channel here and show kind of your video.
It's hard. I definitely, always looking at other people's stuff, getting ideas of like, what kind of pops, what do you put words on it? Like the last one there, that was an auto-generated one. That,
but dude, that's so good.
It fit.
So
the Drag Week logo, I think that helps in just catching people's eye.
A ton.
Groups. The street racing in Compton one, I actually didn't even use part with the sirens in it. I just like colored in the corner so it looked like, the police lights. But like the burnout with Colt's car, we surprised everybody with that because we had been building that car for months and nobody had ever seen anything about it.
That's awesome.
So to promote that, The cam swap one, the bad lifter, I really liked that one. I thought that one, did a
Yeah,
pretty
that
good
thing
job.
chewed up. So you can see I've watched a bunch of this stuff just trying to get ideas. Well, and I love the channel. I mean, like it's great content. There's a lot of these that I've watched that I went back to rewatch, and that's why it just has a little bit there. One thing I do I always preach to everybody was playlists.
Yep, I'm not all on that yet. I was just looking at it today, actually thinking I should probably just make a race week one or a Mountain Dew one that groups it all together.
Well, and I'll say this for anybody that's watching outside too, is the biggest reason for playlist is because, like, let's say they find your channel by looking at they saw a social media post, went back and watched it. Well, then if they click on a playlist or if they click on a video, it may show them that video, but because they've watched 90% of what Cletus McFarland has put out, it will take them from your video to Cletus McFarland. So if they're in a playlist, it plays them the next video in that playlist automatically. So a lot of times you can gain a few more video views that way. And a lot of times you're going to build that brand with them folks. I mean, it's just that I think it's that little stuff. Plus, again, I don't remember anything, so I have to put it in playlist because I don't remember when it was that I did it.
We find out the people that are along for the ride. You get the small amount of people here. They watch because it's a cool video. They watch because it's something unique. But then you get the people that are like, I'm following this. I watch every video. I want to know what happens to that car next. And that's why, like I said, today I was trying to jot down how I could group some of those because we get questions. I'm like, hey, go watch the video. Like they're like, why is this guy driving the car? Or why does it have a radio tire? What's the engine? I'm like, we already talked about it. I mean, it's another video, but then it makes you realize, maybe we should either catch people back up on some of that stuff, which is sometimes hard because to me, it's duplicate information. I think, we've already made a video on it. But you get a lot of people that they don't go back and watch
haven't
stuff
seen it.
Or haven't seen those videos.
And part of the playlist too, for us, like Race Week is a good example of the way I tend to operate our YouTube channels. Like we have a Narcs Cart playlist that has every video we've ever done of the Narcs Cart, but then also I'll have a Race Week video. So like, the Mountain Dew car would have its own. Obviously, it's going to have every video that Mountain Dew is in. Every one of them is going to be its own playlist. And then you're going to have like a Race Week 1.0, Race Week 2.0, Drag Week playlist, all that kind of stuff. So somebody that maybe only wants to see Drag Week videos can jump to your channel and watch everything.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
And so, I'll tell you this much: do it now. Don't do it when you have 500 videos because it blows. I promise. I lived it.
Yeah, no, you're right, because it's going to be a whole bunch of videos if you wait too long.
Dude, it's brutal to have to go back and do all that stuff. Jason's Garage here saying, good example with TubeBuddy and thumbnails is you can pick what screen you want within the video. So like if you had a good shot within the video, you can grab it. Like we were talking about the stills earlier, and then you can add layers. So like your thumbnails aren't crazy extravagant. There's not like a ton of stuff that's in there. So you can make that an easy video and all that kind of stuff too. So it's really crazy to try and think that like people that are finding our content on YouTube, it's so different than when people are trying to find content to watch on TV.
Oh, it is.
Like think of how many times you've gone through the I don't even know what they call it, but like the TV guide where you're flipping through and you're looking at you're looking at video names or show names. We're like here and on YouTube and all the other social media platforms, we're looking at pictures, so like your thumbnail has to be on point.
It's hard. And we tried to get better at it or just think like, what's he going to do? There's one picture from Race Week. It was an auto-generated one. It wasn't by my laptop. And I was like, I don't feel like I got to go make one. And I don't even remember. I think it was Adam going like super
This
excited.
Is perfect.
And that video gets 8,000 views in a couple of days. I'm like, gosh, I should just use the auto-generated more often. You're like, it's weird. That's the way
It's absolutely crazy, and you'll never figure it out, and it'll frustrate you if you try to figure it out. I promise. I do the thumbnails on ours so I can remember what it is. I mean, it's like I don't have bad memory. I'm literally trying like, what can I do next all the time? So here we go. Hang on. He says, Jason's Garage says, right now, I'll be honest, right now TV has become stupid to watch anymore. YouTube is the main source of entertainment. Especially for car guys. I think
that's why I think we have people that like the 30-minute videos. Like, for us, we're like race cars. I like 10 minutes. I like 20 minutes. But Nick told me the other day, he said, this is TV for a lot of these people. So something that's 40 minutes long or 30 minutes, that's no big deal. That's just like them watching a TV show. So that changes the way we look at it a little bit, because like I said, us as race car people, every once in a while I want to know the story. Like, I'll follow along with some people, but we want to watch racing. So when you get on, you click through the talking, you watch the racing. You know, that's just how we are, but that's not how everybody else is. They want to know a little more about what we're doing.
So here's what's funny, and you'll not know you needed this until you do it. Chapters in videos, it's ridiculous. It's so easy to do, but like when like if you're looking for a certain race, you could set that up in a chapter and then be able to go back to that and look at it in 4 seconds. Compared to okay, well I think I put this in at about the 10-minute mark. You know what I mean? So chapters are always a good plus. So, dude. We've been 2.5 hours. I
was looking at it. Dude, I should go for a little while. I mean,
dude, let's go. I'm ready. What do we want to talk about? I'm in. My kids just got back from gymnastics. They're in the house. They're getting showers and probably going to bed before I come in. So,
man, I guess we could talk about some of the cars here. I mean, we talked a lot about me and the YouTube stuff, but it's especially the race cars. I get to do a lot on them, and it's really cool to learn some of these cars and to think of the caliber of what they are. Like I said earlier, for me, building a truck that's going to make 400 horsepower, at the wheels, it's like, that's going to be cool, and that's a lot of horsepower. But we're dealing with cars that we're trying to be competitive and try to have everything we can to win a race. And I think that's so cool about the group of guys we have. I gotta kind of brag on them and just say I'm grateful to have that group of guys, because we know of people that's like, hey, if I was doing this by myself, how fast can I go, and then load it up and say that was good enough, or how can I improve this? And it's tough when you do it by yourself, but to show up to a test day. The very first day that I filmed with Nick, I went up to the airport and was just filming the Gap train there. There's probably 7 of us, 7 of the guys, 7 different cars to test for Civil War, and they kept getting faster. And then, Sean would make a run and go this time, and Nick would turn around and throw his helmet back on to go faster than that number. And it just has so much to say about these guys and willing to go faster and help each other. We look at these cars and they all got very similar setups. We're using some of the same turbos, we're using some of the same engines, we're using some of the same fuel pumps. That's testament to testing we've had and reliability of some of these engines, and to use stock bottom end stuff. To hang out with these guys when I started at the end of the year, like the amount of people that want to spend a lot of money to go fast. I'm not going to say you're not going to spend a lot of money, because you will, and to get good parts, but you can make 1,200 horsepower in stock bottom end. Now, as Adam has found out, the rods don't go much further past that point. But to make 1,000 horsepower out of an engine you bought for $300 out of a truck, I think that's cool. And just, it's such a testament to these guys. I just think it's cool. And like I said, I want to take a minute to say that these cars are awesome, and to think that a car that maybe, is worth $20,000 can race against a car that's got, worth $100,000. It's mad respect for some of the guys around here that can go fast and not make excuses about I didn't have this together or I didn't have these parts. And
Sorry, I'm looking up your Instagram right now because I want to.
You're good.
I want to go through some of the cars that are on here and definitely tell us some of the stuff that's in the shop.
Yeah. So
hang on. You got to start with
good.
this one right here though.
You're good.
The 4-door Malibu, dude.
That thing was sweet, and that guy's super cool. And a funny story, I guess it's about how I approach being at a track. Sometimes is taking pictures of cars that I think are cool, or somebody that will be appreciative, or somebody that I know could, is willing to share it. And I remember one race I posted, like I said, I'm the video guy. So if I get any photos, it's like, right on.
Yeah, this got to be a cool one.
And I did not take a picture of the guy that won the daily driver class with the banger. And I posted a few pictures, a little album with like 10 or 15 photos. Like that's all I usually get out of it. And he made a comment on the post that he didn't get a picture. And, I'm thinking like, I'm sorry, dude. Like I was making a video, like thinking in my head, his car wasn't that unique. Like when I'm looking around, like that 4-door Chevelle Malibu that looks like it's rustic. And I know the guy works hard on it. The guy is a huge fan of us, where he comes up and is always hanging out and saying good job and how can I help, and respectful and appreciative of like, you guys are cool, and I let my kids love watching your videos. That's the guy I take pictures of his car, and even I'll find out that people want to hang out with us. I'm like, oh, you kind of know us, you seem like a decent dude, I'll take a picture of your car tomorrow. And that's kind of how I approach that kind of stuff, because you take pictures of cars that aren't cool or the people aren't appreciative of it, it's like, I don't feel good about that. Like I'm going to take a picture of something cool. And we actually gave Rick, his kids, a couple of t-shirts, and then going around asking if people do a trailer burnout for a free t-shirt. I'm like, hey, your kids already got the t-shirt, so you owe us a burnout. So
that's funny.
Moments after that picture's taken, is middle of the night, he gets out there and does a burnout down the road off the trans brake. I mean, it's just guys like that you post a picture, they're gonna like it, and share it, and be cool when you see them at the track. Just like the diesel C10, the orange C10 doing the massive wheelie. The only reason I'm taking pictures of that truck is because it's rolling coal. And I'm snapping, and all of a sudden it's standing up. And I'm like, this is the best picture I took all week. And we find out that guy knows some of our guys and is really cool and wants to hang out for a little bit. Like, he's the guy I want to take pictures of.
He's the coolest dude ever. Like, we talked to him. We ended up in the lanes with him a bunch on 2.0 last year. And like every time we pulled up, he was like hyping folks, man.
Just talk to you, tell you something about the truck. And like I said, that's the type of people we love to promote and get to spend time with. And it's what makes it worth it when you get people that are appreciative of us trying and wanting to be a part of it too.
Well, and that makes me that brings up just the question in my mind of like how the struggle, I would think, for you would be time management. You know what I mean? Like you want to provide pictures for everybody. You want to take pictures. You want, I mean, you're more of a video guy and prefer to shoot video, but like how do you take the time to pull that screen still out and then do a little edit on it so it looks good? You just don't have time until you can get to 100,000 subscribers and your paycheck is, completely covered and you can work on video and photos all the time.
It's tough because even now I'm honestly pretty close to that, being able to do that full time, just because we have a lot going on. And I think you just have to make that decision. I can't get to all this. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to do this. And I kind of have a hierarchy, like I told you earlier with the GoPros. If I'm at a racetrack and, I get somebody over my shoulder that's like, hey, can you take pictures of my car? They're like looking at it thinking, is it unique? Maybe
is it going to do a wheelie?
Is it going to do a wheelie? Is it going to do something cool? That betters your chances. But when Nick's in the lanes, when Adam's in the lanes, when Sean's in the lanes, that's where I'm at. And as much as I would love to be at the other end watching this guy blow up or do a wheelie or, this guy's tearing his engine down the pits,
Mm-hmm.
I just told myself, this is where I have to be and this is what I'm doing. And do I
Yep.
miss stuff? Absolutely. And I hope
Yep.
somebody's with an iPhone, like, cool, if somebody did something stupid, uh,
Let me see that, please.
somebody's got it, and
Yep.
like I said, that decision makes it easier to decide where do I put my time. And once, even for the videos, when I get home, I usually try to do a handful of pictures they're great
Yep.
for a week's worth of wake up at 8 a.m., post it, do something, share it.
Yep.
And then to the videos. But once
Yeah.
again, the priority is our stuff. And if I can't get to the other, it's like, I'll try my best. And
Yep.
but once again, if somebody's building something unique, they're probably going to get a picture of it. Now, if you just got a Camaro, you want pictures of it, it's like, sorry, bud. Like,
That's not what I do.
super,
Yeah.
And when we're filming on the line, I get tire crack footage. Like, I can't tell you how many times I got to whip it out or put it on a laptop and go prove that somebody did or did not jump. And I'm
Yep.
glad I'm there for it. And then you get a guy that says, hey, can you film my race? I'm like, I'm going to the pits to make a YouTube video. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm
Yep.
here, you're racing us, fine, I'll do it. But I'm
Yep.
not going to go do that out of my way to help you with your tire
Right.
crack hand, and it's just, like I said, I have my hierarchy of who gets what, and then kind of
Yeah.
work your way down, or hoping I had a GoPro on the Gap train because it did, something cool or broke something, or like, you hope that you can do that if I have cameras available, and
Yeah.
want that to be in the YouTube video.
Right. So do you have a typical posting schedule, or like, do you schedule ahead? I
Nope.
guess is my.
Nothing right now is scheduled ahead. Now, when we left for drag week, I
Yep.
scheduled the California trip because that was
Yep.
pretty much every single day. Other than that, we haven't. I'm pretty close to when I get something done, it's up, and we're not waiting or trying. I hardly have time to get ahead. So at some point, I think we will. And learning to use social media. Like I said, I don't say I'm great at that. So figuring out when's a good time to post on Instagram, or when's a good time we need to start scheduling some of that we hit some of those prime times, because we don't know when they are now. And as busy as we are, I also told Nick at the beginning, I said, the YouTube stuff's cool. Like, I'd love to be editing videos. I'd love to be getting this done.
Mm-hmm.
But getting this car rebuilt to race tomorrow is number one. Like,
is priority. Yeah.
If I got to just set up a GoPro to film us doing this, that's fine. Like, getting this customer car, running it out the door, that's most important. Like, this editing can wait. That's hard to do because, like I said, I know this short span we have now to push really hard will help us succeed, but that other stuff's got to get done. So if we can schedule stuff, I think we will, and try to get better at that. But we're busy. There's a lot of stuff going on at once that we try to hit all the points. Like I told you at the beginning, there's just five or six things I try to get done in a week, whether it's I got to spend 10 hours here, 10 here, some of them got to get done at some point.
Right. Well, why don't you give us a rundown of the cars that are in the shop right now?
So I'm actually looking out the door. We have Ryan's Vega, which, gosh, hasn't made any videos yet. That'll be out in the next couple of weeks. That'll be kind of a surprise for people. That a twin turbo Vega. We've got a red Mustang in here that's for a customer that, gosh, it's probably been here 6 months or a year. Full race car. We have a Z01 Camaro that's going to be a land speed car that he's posted a few pictures of the last week.
Dang.
We had a Challenger, a newer Challenger 392 Hemi that got a Torque Storm supercharger on it, kind of a bolt-on kit. Austin's RX-7 was in here, the twin turbo, which the one I told you we took out right that night, and it was running today, which was 6 days ago. So there was a lot of work.
That's awesome. Yeah.
If we had another engine, it would have been done the next day, but you had to find another engine, tear down, cam swap, and that stuff. My truck, I went on brakes. Mine's been in here the last 2 days in the evening. Runs good. I got the exhaust done, and if I get brakes tomorrow, hopefully be testing.
They're making some rips this weekend. That's cool.
And then Mountain Dew's broken apart. Also sitting close by. But that's pretty much the breakdown of the shop. And there's a handful of cars in our dry storage building that are race cars ready to be built. So there's a lot that we can get done here when we get caught up. But I feel like we work really hard in a short amount of time. So we can go racing and then kind of play the catch-up game, like where can we make money so we can resource
go racing again,
racing the next week. So
I think that's probably one of the coolest things about like the ability to monetize with YouTube and what that can lead to, because if it grows well enough, I mean, you could do that full time. I mean, that's what Cletus does full time is plays cars and records,
I think that's the goal. And once again, a guy like me with one truck, two trucks, no money, like how soon can he get that going? But it's all here. And we see the comments that say it, you're doing awesome. Here you go. You're going to make it. And like, you're right, but we still got to work, our butts off to pay the bills, to get to the next weekend. And that takes a lot. It takes a lot to do, but it's all there. I mean, you compare to some other YouTube channels, some of those guys don't even race. They're building, they're always building, they're cruising. They took it to a car show. We have the cool stuff, and I'm just so blessed to say that we have that and can do that. And like I said, I keep looking up in the shop, just looking at the cars of like, there's so much potential there. And to be a part of it fully, like
to be in the middle of it.
I think some people get the perspective of like, and it doesn't really bother me, but people say, you're the video guy. They're like, right on, you do this. And it's like, man, I don't think you get it. We just spent 50 hours to go racing. And I had a hand in a lot of it. And it just is so cool. And
dude, I'm scrolling down through the videos here. There's not much of in-shop video, man. You got to get us on some of that.
Like nothing. Yeah, we keep going. So that's what's because we kind of need to slow down and film that. But I think one instance in particular, early on, we went and did it was the pregame to dig or die at a race, and the other guys weren't going to race. It was just we were going to go street racing. It was me, Nick, and one or two of the other guys, I think. And we had never done the whole street racing, like, let's go here, stay up all night, pour the puddle, get them in the lanes. And I'm videoing, so I'm trying to help, but, the guys are trying to pour the water and line them up. And it just, I was so nervous as even me as the video guy, as the crew guy, because we built it days before. And I think it put the whole thing in perspective of like, this is us. It's not Nick's car driving a car. If that thing blows up, doesn't blow up, or wins, that's me. And I remember just leaning in the car and telling him, like, dude, I'm nervous. And he's looking over and he's like you should be. Like, you're on this team and we built it. And it just goes so far to be a part of it. And sure, we make sacrifices to go racing all the time, but gosh, that's the stuff that makes it worth it. And to go, heck, he went 186 miles an hour in a car we put together. And Lonnie gets back on drag week and just gives me the thumbs up. Like, you guys built a car that went straight. I didn't have to drive it. And you just got to sit back and be like, awesome. Like, that's cool. And it's one thing to go 130. Nick goes 130 all the time. But
to do 186.
186 is, it's a different story.
And
really
stuff has to be right to make that kind of time. You know what I mean?
And we now, are we a little redneck in some of the stuff we do to go racing? Yes, but we do the safety stuff. We do the stuff to make it go straight and do the testing. And I found out recently talking to somebody how little testing we do after he told me how much testing they do, because we test a lot. We work really hard to get there, and then we find out a guy that says he has 3 times as many passes as we do, and it's like, how do you do it?
Where do you find time?
So I feel like we work hard to test the car, fix the car, and make it good for racing. And there's other guys that just they do more, and you
That's
have to
wild,
commend them
man.
for like if you beat me, 1 for 1, right on, dude. Like you did the
Yeah.
work, and that's another thing. I guess I'll touch on it. I'm thinking about it. Not about our YouTube channel being real. We show a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and for the guy, do you know Muffrey with the S10 Tennessee?
Uh-uh.
He's building it's a short bed S10. It's like metallic gray twin turbo. It's a fast front half radio car or truck. He posted one day some specs. He posted like the weight breakdown. He posted horsepower numbers, all this stuff. You get the people in the comments that say, "Why are you giving us this information?" Or like, "Why are you giving this away?" And
Yeah.
a little while later, Muff made a post that said, if I give you this information and you use that information and you beat me, more power to you. Like
Yeah.
you will make me be a better driver.
Yeah.
If I can't beat you at your best because you use this information, I'm gonna go faster.
Yeah.
And it puts in a perspective of just like we show a lot. Like we show the suspension stuff. We talk about it. We talk about horsepower. We talk about weight, and people look at you thinking you're crazy. Like, why'd you give away that secret? We were on the way to Uncaged in Ohio, and Billy Hoskinson with the S10,
Mm-hmm.
he sends Nick a screenshot of our video with the suspension kind of pushed back, and he said he's taking notes, and Nick responds with, we're sitting there. I was like, we made a whole video on the suspension.
Yeah.
So Nick says, hey, go check out this video. You can learn all you want. And Billy responds with like, are you serious? Like, why aren't people going faster? Like if people would sit down,
Yep.
look at this, learn from this, and go faster, the races will be more competitive. Or like we
Yeah.
would have to force ourselves to go faster. And we're willing to share that. And like I said, if somebody's going to beat us at our best and use that, by all means. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what we're all here for. And Nick would rather beat a guy, that's got his car figured out than just stop on the line. Like,
Yeah.
it makes us feel better when we beat a guy that his car is working. And it's just, like I said, that's just cool to see. You can give somebody all the information in the world. They still got to put in the hours.
Yep.
And they still got to work hard. And
Yep.
we realized that when that one guy was telling us how many passes he had on his combo, we're thinking we got nothing compared to that.
That's crazy. Yeah. And there's a ton of videos within your layout there that are you guys testing, shows all that stuff. I will say that since watching the growth of your channel, from this side, we've extended some of our videos where stuff I would have cut out or fast forwarded through or something like that, because I'm the same way. I'm like, man, give me a 10 or 12 minute video, because I can typically put together 10 or 12 minutes. At night while the wife is watching some TV, I can watch that and with my earbuds in,
That's the same way I am. For sure.
Yeah. But what I found is like, it may take me 2 days to watch that video, but I'll watch the full 30 minutes, because it's cool to watch what you guys are going through. It's cool to watch, the updates and things like that. So that's pretty neat, man. It's really cool to have. It'll be interesting to have you back on in a year or I'm 6 months. I'm
excited because I think for me, 6 months is a mark. I feel like when I first started with Nick, I'm like, we'll see where we're at in 6 months. We'll see where we're at in 6 months, and I'm excited for it. We just sat here yesterday talking about it, and I don't think we can even imagine what stuff can happen, and all for a good reason of just like a lot of things are changing. We got cool cars, we got people interested, we got people involved, and if he has the resources, if I have the time, he has the time, I mean, it's going to be fun, and to go off the month that we've had in terms of excitement. I mean, I'd say I don't know where you go, but I'm about to finish a truck that I've never done racing. I've never had something fast to even, scratch the surface of enjoying some of this, that's my, what are we going to see from here? Because I've never
Right.
raced. That's going to be cool. But yeah, you're right. 6 months or a year, I'll come back and tell you how we're doing. I don't. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Right. So, you said a crazy month. Walk us through like when did you guys? Because I know the Hoonigan videos dropped the week you were on Drag Week, but like when did you guys make that trip? And then of course, like, I mean, there were 16 days there where y'all did nothing but where the car raced. I mean, you didn't go on 2.0, but like, I mean, there's 16 days there where they were on that.
So, and I'll always remember the California trip because that Saturday was my birthday. So we went
Nice.
out on my birthday. It was June. The first week of June is when we went to the Hoonigan thing, and we only knew, gosh, probably a few days before when they decided like, hey, we're going to run this, and we drove straight there. It was a 33-hour drive, and we made it in 36 hours. So, I mean,
That's crazy.
Stop for gas and a little bit of food.
Yeah.
We did all that, and then I think I was home for maybe 2 days before we left for Rocky Mountain Race Week.
Dang.
And that was with the truck, so we didn't have to do anything to the car. We just, Mountain Dew sat on the trailer. We got in the truck and left 2 days later.
Yep.
Did the Rocky Mountain Race Week, and then had a little time. I mean, I probably raced a weekend after that, a week or two after that. And then for Race Week 2.0 or Drag Week, like I said, 5 days before we left was engine, converter, rear end, suspension, seat, fuel system. And then we did that. So, 7 days there, 5, 12, 5. Yeah, 17 days of just
insanity.
It's a lot. And once again, Nick will say it just the same as I will. What else are we going to be doing? And, we had so much fun with that. And I think some people, we're tired or we're out. The car looks like what it looks like now. Whatever. We have a blast and keep doing it. And, if we are able and have those resources, we're gonna go for it.
Yeah. And the way to get more resources is to sell merchandise. Y'all go to their damn website and buy some shit.
Check out the website. I'm about to do a pre-order on either this hat or a similar hat with the leather patch, and a couple other t-shirts. And it's gonna get there because, like I said, some of my goals. If you look at YouTube, if you look at t-shirts, if I can one for one pay me, from being able to do all these things, that's kind of the goal because, I take my time to work in the shop because that's what, brings in money to allow us to do what we do. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, but you balance it out. And like you said, if we can somehow sustain YouTube and merchandise, that's awesome. That's our goal. And how many years it takes us, or good luck for a dramatic video. I mean, we're looking forward to it, and we work a lot to either be a little different or just be at the race because us spending the time, we know, even though we can't work for a week because we go to California, we're gonna meet good people and get promoted in a good way. If Nick can swing that in his wallet, we're going to go and we're going to do it. And that's why we work really hard for a few days to keep racing.
That's awesome. And, it's crazy. Like people with you leaning so much towards Mountain Dew and gap training and stuff, kind of on the videos and the racing side of stuff, people miss about 35, 40, 50 hours a week worth of in the shop stuff, like of what it takes to pay for that stuff. And that's wild to me, man, that like, I think it's fun to watch you guys load up and race somewhere. Like, race 2.0 was crazy. Like to see those guys pull through. I was like, oh my God, they just did Drag Week. Like
we
did they even go home?
We knew it was going to have, that kind of impact. And like I said, I had other stuff on the schedule that I'm I wanted to be there. Cool. I had some other stuff to do, but a funny story with that, and heck, we'll have those videos out soon. when we pulled in, it was 11 p.m. That Friday, I believe, and he had pushed ahead gasket, lifted ahead,
Mm-hmm.
and I just told him, I said, we're going to take it apart when we get to the shop, and they're kind of like, sure. And I'm like,
Yeah.
we're going to get it apart so we know what happened. I'm like, I'm probably not going to sleep good if we
Yeah.
don't know what broke. And we get in there within 30 minutes, it's all taken apart. And we realized the head needed resurfaced, new head gasket, this, and this. And they were planning to leave, would be Saturday to be at Tech Sunday morning. And we got out of bed, went to the machine shop, the Ron Derrickson at Northwest Auto Machine, met us on a Saturday to resurface the head, got it done in the car, and they left at 10 or 11 p.m. Saturday and had a 13-hour drive to reach Tech. And that's just, how we roll, and knowing that the car was set up for that. The car is not usually like that. So he took that opportunity to go, and just, I think, being able to make some of those decisions and maybe look crazy, that's just, I guess that's how we do it around here.
Well, and so let's talk how that affects the shop a little bit, because like that was a little bit of the struggle that NWA had. And the only reason I keep talking about them is because it's the only one I was involved in that heavily. Right. They wanted to do a lot more of that, but they just couldn't get away from the shop. So having a big team like what you've got makes that maybe a little easier, because there's still guys at the shop that can get stuff done.
Yeah. So there's a couple guys that can get some stuff done while we're here, keep up on customer cars. Crazy enough, and I think it was in the California stuff, Nick won 2 classes the day before we left for California, and that was a couple $1,000s that we had gas money.
That's awesome.
However that happens, and you always want to win, and we hope for that, but in its basic form of people looking at that and us thinking we don't have money. We win 2 classes and have some form of cash to get to California.
Yeah.
I mean, it all works out, and it was cool we were able to do that. But
yeah,
like I said, and once again, the videos are there. If that stuff we forget or don't really remember, whatever.
Yep. You can go back through.
The video's there, and it's just funny. We watched that and we're like, dude, we had no money. And somehow won enough money just to go. And
yep.
It made
That's
that
too
easier.
cool.
It made that easier for Nick to say, I know we're going to hang out with people that have 4 million subscribers. We know that's beneficial.
Yep.
Can we get there? And then for the car to do as well as it did, take home a little money, it made it possible. And like I said, people can dramatize or skew or make whatever YouTube videos you want, but that in its basic form was like, we did it. Like, bam, we earned enough money just to go.
That's pretty awesome. What was the bump in subs once their side of videos dropped?
It wasn't a lot.
Really?
It really,
wow.
It was pretty surprising. I'd be curious if I could look back at some of the analytics and see, but there wasn't much.
Man, that's wild that those guys have that many subs. Like, you would think that would allow you, not necessarily to be on the map, but you would gain hundreds.
You see, I could probably, categorize a couple hundred, a few hundred, maybe within a few days, but
that's
crazy. How many people it is.
Yep.
It's hard. And we kind of had both sides of that. We're like, oh, that's awesome publicity. Like, we'll see how good we do. But then the other side of it is you're realizing that people who watch that don't connect the dots.
Yeah.
They have a hard time unless it's right there in a button or a video that pops up. It's hard to connect the two. And when we figure that out, we've learned that over the months we've done this. It's not as simple as showing up, or it's not as simple as, we just raced with guys with 4.5 million. It doesn't matter. To connect the two is what's difficult.
Yep.
like I noticed with the street racing channel stuff, when they, I know when they share our stuff, because I'll wake up and we'll have 200 more
Yeah.
subscribers.
Yep.
And they have 200,000. I mean, that's minuscule
Yep.
to what Hoonigan has. And I also realized that they're not necessarily our type of channel if you look at racing.
Yep.
And I think that has something to do with it, which you don't want to believe that or think like, oh no, they're car people.
Yep.
But after the fact, I got to thinking, they're inviting people to race that are unique, or
Yeah.
you know, how many race car drivers they've actually had on there? Very few. And,
Yeah.
And it made me kind of connect the dots of like, yeah, they got a lot of subscribers, but our people want to watch drag racing. The video of the Volvo gets 500 views. The video of Mountain Dew going round says 10,000 views.
Yep.
There's your answer. And that's kind of changed some of our ways of how we promote stuff and what's going to do well. Because, you know, if you get somebody that's not exactly in your realm of racing, share it. It's not what you would think or I would think, would just be, you know, bam, that helps a lot. So
yeah,
we're learning, and I can't express that enough with Nick and everybody watching. Is like, we're all in this together. You know, it's not like I was a successful YouTuber before to say, yeah, we're gonna.
This is what's all this is gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're, you know, and at the 9-10 months that we've had has been so beneficial just to see what the people want, what's working, and how we can keep doing it. So.
Yeah, dude, that's cool. It's going to be crazy to see what another 6 months. We'll have to plan on that. We'll have to have you back in April and touch base, because like I think it'll be, because you know the one thing about it is now, like you've had 10 months, 12 months to really grasp like just your process. I mean, think about that, like just your editing, you posting, all that kind of process, and then now that you've kind of got definitely your basis on that, like what's next, what how do you take that one little tweak, what's that tweak that will put you over.
And I absolutely look forward to it, and I'm never one to shy away from like, let's do something new, let's try this, let's work harder. Like that's just kind of how I operate on things. So I'm in for it. If, like I said, if Nick can allow us to keep racing and we can sustain the business to keep it going, it's whatever we can make of it, and just
and I mean, here's the reality is that you guys will always have race cars in the shop. So you may not be racing, or may not be racing Mountain Dew for a month or something like that. Let's say funds are a little tight for Mountain Dew. You have the Gap Train, you have customer cars, you have good friends that are racing, all that kind of stuff. So you'll still always be around racing. And that's what people will come to the channel to watch,
Well, and somebody commented we missed Bumper Wilson the other day. And I got to thinking, I'm like, man, we've been throwing Mountain Dew content out there for a month, and it's like, dang, we need to, maybe work on some of the other stuff, because you kind of forget that. Like, and somebody, you realize that people are there for the story and know you. The car. They want to see Sean. Where's this guy at? And it kind of puts into perspective that people are aware and they're a fan, and they're following those cars. And like I said, there's times we forget about that. We just keep pumping out, oh, this is cool, oh, this is cool. And then we're like, this guy don't even know what engine's in here. It's like, maybe we should have touched on that a little more. But I think trying to figure out a dialogue for that, to learn what people want to see, is important, and we haven't, I don't think, done a great job of. Even like you today, you mentioned a few things like, what about this, or why, show us a shop tour. And it's like, well, we kind of thought that'd be a good idea, but like, we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about going racing. So it's good feedback to know and find a way for people to say, I want to see this, and this is why we watch the channel. And here's the deal. You're smart enough to know that if something isn't working, you're not going to do it again. Me, I'm dumb enough. I'm going to be like, I'm just going to keep cramming this down people's throat until I get tired of recording it, and then I'll stop doing it. You know what I mean? So like you're looking at it from a completely different level than we are. And that's going to be what's really cool. 'Cause I'm telling you,
the quality of video you put out it'll be a Tuesday at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and you'll look over and it'll just be like going, just rocket ship to the moon, and you'll have no idea what happened.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And we see that every once in a while. We see somebody share something, and there's a lot going on, and we have mad respect for the people that just have been in racing a long time and say, hey, good job. Or, they share something or mention it, and it just means the world to us to do something that gets a little bit of attention and, I don't know, make a difference when you just see a kid come on. I mean, I took T-shirts with us to Drag Week, and I don't think I sold any. I probably gave away 10. But it was like, you put a smile on that kid's face. And I'm like, that's why we do what we do. And if you can do that for the one, his dad was in the staging lanes. He said, hey, my son, loves your guys' channel and watches.
Yeah.
And he didn't know who I was, but I walked up there and I said, here's a T-shirt. And somebody's doing a burnout. So I'm like, here's a T-shirt. It's Mac TV. And he's like, what? Like, it's a Mac TV T-shirt for you, buddy. And he realized what it was. He's like, dude, thank you so much.
That's
he runs
cool.
over to his dad and shows him the shirt. And once again, that in itself for people to come out there to, be able to either meet Nick or just be around the car because they watch the channel is really cool to connect the two. And when you see YouTube comments, or when you go to an event and people say what's up and good job, it means a lot. And it shows we're doing something at least to catch somebody's attention.
Well, and it just, it goes back to like fans. I mean, you can end up, it was so, I love podcasting. I absolutely love hearing stories. I love talking to people. We were standing in the line at registration, and I was talking to a guy, and this guy behind us was like, are you Mike Narks? And I said, yeah. He goes, oh man, we drove from Virginia and listened to your podcast for the race week stuff half the way here, which is really neat to do. And like, that would have never happened if I had not been podcasting and YouTubing. And that was really neat. And to think that 2 hours of time or 3 hours and 15 minutes of time, this video will help someone start recording. Like somebody's watching this at some point in the 3 hours we've been on here, and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna do a YouTube channel. I'm gonna put one up. I'm gonna do something with it. You're
gonna want to go back to watch it, or somebody's gonna learn from it. And and that's hard to get because it takes time. It takes effort, but even something is what people want to watch. And I have a hard time with that sometimes because I'm a video guy. I want it to be really something. But just what we're doing, kicking around and in the shop, I mean, people want to see it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And dude, like I said, we want to see shop tour. I want to see what's in the shop, what you guys are working on, and all that little goofy stuff that again will help build the brand, but then also, show us all that are sitting at our desk during our day job what all the cool kids are working on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll have to do that. I'll run that by Nick and we'll get a shop tour up.
Yeah, pretty neat stuff. So, all right, dude, I really got to cut it. Stay with me.
No.
I'm going to end the broadcast because I've got to go in. My daughter's like, hey, we're going to bed. So I got to go in and give them kisses and stuff like that.
I had a great time, and it didn't seem like we've been on here that long. Like
I know.
I don't talk a lot, but if it's cars and YouTube, we can talk all day long.
Dude,
really
hey, I'm really excited. And if the folks that are watching haven't subscribed to Mac TV on YouTube, do it right now. I'm going to hit the end broadcast. Go over, subscribe to their channel because it's really, really good content. And obviously with what we've talked about, it's only going to get better. So Mac TV on YouTube, Mid America Kustoms on Facebook and Instagram. What are you guys on TikTok? Mid America Kustoms.
I think Mac TV Boys is the one that Nick's running. So
there's
a little bit of stuff on there.
Cool. All right, stay with me. I'm in this, guys. Thank you very much. We'll be live again soon. Thursday night, I am on the Old Car Guy and Straight Six Fan show live on their channel. So find me over there, 7 p.m. Central. We'll be talking about Race Week 2.0 and the upcoming streetcar shootout. All right, bye. All right, dude.